Chapter 1169. Yi Juetian shifted his feet, but discovered that Gong Yu was hugging him tightly, very tightly. Of course, Gong Yu could only do this because she felt that only Yi Juetian could save her. Meng Yao stood in front of Gong Yu and stretched out her hand. The heart gem was especially eye-catching in Gong Yu's eyes. Why does such a stone exist in this world? It was all fake. It was all a lie. Gong Yu, prove your innocence. Meng Yao said indifferently, but her eyes were filled with killing intent. Today Gong Yu must die. Gong Yu didn't reach for the heart gem. Qian Yuqing and Yi Yuanqing couldn't help but think of Huang Yin. On that day, he didn't dare to take it because once he took it, all of his lies would be revealed. However, Gong Yu was the same today. Lu Jing sighed softly. Daji, help me back. Yes. Daji respectfully supported Lu Jing and left. Lu Jing no longer wanted to watch. The truth was already in front of her. This woman had harmed his two sons. There was nothing to pity. Looking at Gong Yu, Meng Yao asked, Gong Yu, what's wrong? Prove your innocence and let everyone know that I wanted you dead, because I was jealous. Gong Yu's face was deathly pale, and she did not pay any attention to Meng Yao. She hugged onto Yi Juetian's leg and pleaded, Juetian, I didn't do it. You have to believe me. I really didn't do it. Help me. Help me please. Help me say something, okay? Yi Juetian said gravely. Gong Yu, hold on to the spirit gem and prove yourself. No. This thing is fake. It's fake. You can't believe it. Gong Yu roared, her delicate face contorted into a sinister expression. Looking at her big brother emperor who was not too far away, Gong Yu frantically crawled and hugged onto Yi Hua's leg while begging. Big brother, you have to believe me. I didn't do such a thing. I won't harm you. Gong Yu, who was crying like rain, raised her head and looked towards Yi Hua. However, there wasn't a single bit of ripple on Yi Hua's face. This caused Gong Yu to be extremely afraid as she knelt beside Qingya's feet. Sister-in-law, save me. I didn't do it. Qingya remained silent and slowly turned her head away. Gong Yu then kneeled in front of Donghuang Baiji. Sister-in-law, I beg of you, can you help me say something? I beg of you. I am Zhu Tian's fiancé. Why don't you guys help me? Gong Yu crawled in front of Qing Yutong, then crawled in front of Qian Yuqing. However, no one said a single word, because the truth was right in front of their eyes. This woman had turned Voidless Empire's royal family into a heartless empire. And she had even become the joke of the entire northern region, becoming the laughingstock of the people. Just because of that bit of jealousy. Gong Yu's knees were already scraped. She slowly crawled in front of Yi Juetian, raised her head to look at Yi Juetian, and said in a low voice, Juetian, why didn't you guys help me? Why did you join hands with outsiders to bully me? Gong Yu put her hands on the ground, crying loudly. Gradually she stood up, looked at everyone and shouted, It was you who brought me here. You made me leave my parents. You were the ones who forced me to marry him. Now you want me to die. How could I, Gong Yu, resist? Do you know the poison I gave Yi? So it's for myself. I like absolute heaven, I love him. I would do anything for him. But this woman. Yet he appeared between me and absolute heaven. Yi Juetian, do you even have me in your heart? For you, I went to hell. As for you, yet from start to finish, you never even looked me in the eye. She sacrificed herself for you. Can't you see that I sacrificed myself for you? Why do you only have her in your eyes, and not even a bit of my shadow? Why do you have to be so cruel to me? All of you are bullying an outsider like me. Gong Yu roared and questioned Yi Juetian, revealing all of the grievances in her heart. After hearing what Gong Yu said, Yi Juetian went into a daze. He remembered that back then, he was the one who called Gong Yu over. When he first came over, Yi Juetian felt that Gong Yu was a good girl. However, he didn't expect that Gong Yu would walk step by step into the abyss. Yi Juetian looked at Gong Yu, who was beside him. She sacrificed herself for me, is she wrong? She used extreme methods, and her goal was to get rid of the Yi in my mind. However, I, Yi Juetian, only like Yi. If I were to say that I was wrong, I shouldn't have chosen any girl's name back then. I should have bravely told big brother, sister-in-law, and mother that I have a woman that I like, and that woman is called Yi. Perhaps, that would have been the best result. No one would have been harmed. From Gong Yu's point of view, There was nothing wrong with her loving Yi Juetian. However, what was wrong was that this was an ill-fated relationship, and both of them were harming each other. Women are able to understand women. Qinya and the others seemed to be able to understand what Yi Juetian was saying. Of course, Donghuang Baiji was also one of them. Back then, when the two of them bumped into each other, how could they not have any thoughts towards each other? After all, there was only one man in the world, and both of them wanted to have one for themselves. However, back then, Yi Juetian's attitude was unyielding. I, the Supreme Overlord, want two women, so what can I do? However, Yi Juetian was different. Perhaps he wasn't as fickle as Yi Juetian. He was single-minded towards his feelings, and he firmly believed that Yi would be Yi. If Yi Juetian was also fickle, he would probably be able to have two beauties in his embrace. After all, what Gong Yu cared about was that Yi Juetian didn't have her in his heart, and Yi was the kind of girl that was easy to talk to. However, it was a pity that one's personality determined everything, and from the very start, it was already a tragedy. Right now, Gong Yu had already admitted to her crimes, and everything that happened was premeditated by her. As for who was in the wrong first, it was already unclear. When Meng Yao heard Gong Yu's complaints, she felt a bit moved in her heart. Gong Yu was brought into the palace, while I entered the palace willingly. Being surrounded by this square-shaped palace, who would be able to understand the pain I had to endure? However, the matter of Gong Yu framing me was a fact. It was something that couldn't be erased. A pitiful person would definitely have a hateful side to them. Yi Hua, how do you plan to deal with Gong Yu? Qinya quietly walked in front of Yi Hua and asked in a low voice. To be honest, Gong Yu's crimes were clearly punishable by death. After all, she had brought shame to the entire Wushu Empire. However, can I blame all of this on Gong Yu? If you didn't have those pedantic thoughts back then, would Gong Yu have become such a vicious woman? From being kind to being vicious, there is a process, and no one is born to be a vicious person. Yi Hua slightly wrinkled his brows. If this matter had happened in the past, I, the Supreme Overlord, would definitely have killed Gong Yu. This matter concerns the honor of the entire group. However, I, the Supreme Overlord, am also at fault in this matter. I forced Gong Yu too ruthlessly. If not, how could such a situation have occurred? In actuality, the matter that happened yesterday was all caused by me. In fact, I feel that the reason why Gong Yu became so vicious is also because of me. End of this chapter. Chapter 1170. Originally, there was a better solution, but it was useless. In the end, it made everyone unhappy. At this moment, Donghuang Baiji walked over and asked softly, Yi Hua, can you deal with this matter leniently? Gong Yu indeed deserves to die, but she only cares about little Tian wholeheartedly. Yi Hua took a deep breath. If I don't kill Gong Yu, wouldn't it seem like I have become kind-hearted? But if I kill Gong Yu, wouldn't I be too vicious, too ruthless? A woman was captured by me, came here with the determination to die, but ended up falling in love with little Tian, and because of my stubbornness, she ended up walking onto a path of no return. How do you all think we should deal with this matter? Yi Hua asked gravely. Qinya and Donghuang Baiji took a look at each other. Donghuang Baiji had experience in this aspect, and she said softly, what Gong Yu did indeed has a huge influence, but in actuality, we are also at fault. We shouldn't let her bear the responsibility alone. Don't you think so, Yi Hua? Hearing that, Yi Hua let out a breath. What Donghuang Baiji said is right. Yi Hua has no choice but to consider it. Qinya sighed and said, Yi Hua, Gong Yu was, after all, brought into the palace by little Tian, but little Tian doesn't like her, which is why he did such a thing. No matter what, she is still little Tian's fiancée. Killing one of our own, it seems a bit. Qinya didn't finish her sentence, but she was also telling Yi Hua that Gong Yu didn't deserve to die. Suddenly, a terrifying aura spread out. Yi Hua raised his head and took a look, and his expression became grave. Qian Yuqing and the others looked at Gong Yu in disbelief, as if they were looking at a second Yi. This terrifying aura was being emitted out from Gong Yu's body. Right now, Gong Yu didn't have the slightest bit of reluctance, and her body was emitting out a faint white light. Gong Yu herself had the strength of an overlord, but right now, Gong Yu chose to end her own life. To her, Yesterday and today were like heaven and hell. In this palace, there was nothing for her to miss anymore. Even if it was the man that she deeply loved who was just standing at the side and bullying her together with Yi, everyone was the same. At this moment, Gong Yu said lightly, "You all don't have to do it, I will do it myself. You all should be satisfied now, right?" Gong Yu looked at Meng Yao and said faintly. Meng Yao was speechless. However, Yi Juetian, who was standing at the side, felt very uncomfortable. This was the first time he heard Gong Yu's thoughts, and he was very astonished. I completely didn't expect that Gong Yu would think like this. She did so many things, and it was actually all for me, all for the sake of making Yi disappear from my mind. Yi Juetian was unable to accept this kind of ending at all. He had plotted against Yi for his sake. Did that mean that he had also indirectly caused Yi's death? Did Gong Yu treat him well? Thinking about it now, Gong Yu was very caring and considerate towards me. However, previously, I only had Yi in my heart, and I completely neglected Yi's thoughtfulness. This caused Gong Yu to become even more intense, and hate Yi even more. It was all his fault. He was the one who had harmed them. Yi Juetian suddenly extended his hand and grabbed Gong Yu's wrist. This was the first time that Yi Juetian had taken the initiative to grab Gong Yu's wrist. This caused Gong Yu to stare blankly, and even Meng Yao, who was standing at the side, was dumbfounded. She had no idea what Yi Juetian was trying to do. Yi Hua and the others were very puzzled as well. What is Xiao Tian trying to do? Yi Juetian seemed to have thought it through, and seemed to have calmed down a lot. None of you are in the wrong. The one who is in the wrong is me, Gong Yu. You don't have to die. The one who should die is me. Yi Juetian suddenly laughed. The reason why I ended up in such a situation is because I lacked courage, was sloppy, and was indecisive. No wonder everyone says that I only look like Big Brother, but the way I do things is completely different. From this matter, it was clear that Yi Juetian finally understood how cowardly he was today. If back then, he had rejected those partners and didn't ask Gong Yu to come over, she would still be living together with her parents right now, and would even be respected by everyone. However, now that she was here, she could only stay by my side and treat me well. However, have I ever treated her well before? Never. I had only treated her as a friend. At that time, I should have mustered up my courage, directly brought Yi into the palace, and boldly admitted that I liked this woman, and that I wouldn't marry anyone else but her. To be honest, if Yi Juetian had really done that, Yi Hua and Lu Jing wouldn't be able to do anything about it. However, Yi Juetian was an obedient child, and he didn't dare to go against Yi Hua's words. You want to die for her? Meng Yao asked gravely, her expression clearly not good. Just how did this woman harm me? Have you still not seen it clearly? Back then, when I was being bullied by so many people, did you even come out and speak up for me? And now you actually dare to say that you want to die for her. Yi Juetian, are you still a human? Gong Yu was stupefied as she looked at Yi Juetian in disbelief. He finally spoke up for me. He finally spoke up for me. 2 streams of tears flowed down Gong Yu's cheeks. Even if I am going to die right now, I am still happy. Yi Juetian looked at Meng Yao and said lightly, "Yi, I was the one who harmed you, and I also harmed her. The 2 of you are actually innocent, and the one who is guilty is me, Yi Juetian. I am not worthy of the love of the 2 of you." Boom. A ferocious aura erupted from Yi Juetian's body and soared straight into the clouds. Everyone in Voidless Empire was looking at this golden light. What happened in the palace? This aura is so terrifying. To ordinary people, the aura that an overlord is giving off is a rather terrifying existence. Big Brother, let me bear all of the wrongs. Help me say a sentence of apology on behalf of Mother. Your son is unfilial and cannot continue serving by her side anymore. Yi Juetian said with a tone of righteousness. Yi Hua snorted coldly, and an even more ferocious aura immediately emitted out from his body, directly sending Yi Juetian flying. Yi Juetian was like a cannonball that pierced through the entire palace. Idiot! Yi Hua shouted out coldly. To commit suicide for the sake of 2 women. I, the Supreme Overlord, have lost all of my face. Things happened too quickly. Meng Yao immediately reacted and disappeared from where she was, and Gong Yu did the same. Right now Yi Juetian had already fainted. How could he possibly withstand a single attack from Yi Hua? It was already good enough that he didn't die. Seeing that Yi Juetian was fine, Meng Yao let out a breath of relief. However, when she thought about it, why did I have to worry about him? Gong Yu's situation was much simpler. She sat beside Yi Juetian and hugged him in her embrace. Gong Yu felt very happy in her heart. She suddenly felt that all of the things that she did were all worth it. Even if she were to die now, it was all worth it. Meng Yao looked at Gong Yu, who was hugging Yi Juetian, and ignored her, walking to the side. At this moment, Yi Hua brought everyone over. Gong Yu, Yi Hua shouted out. Gong Yu bowed respectfully. Your Majesty. The death penalty is unavoidable, but punishment is unavoidable. This emperor shall sentence you to life imprisonment in the heavenly prison. Do you have any objections? Thank you, brothers, for your bounty. Thank you, brothers, for your support. End of this chapter. Chapter 1171. Qinya, Donghuang Baiji, and the others didn't expect that Yi Hua would deal with the matter in such a way, and they all let out a sigh of relief in their hearts. This time, Gong Yu had indeed committed a grave crime, and yet, Yi Hua was actually willing to spare her life. From this, it could be seen that Yi Hua knew that he was in the wrong. If not, it would be impossible for him to do such a thing. Gong Yu was actually quite pitiful. She had degenerated into a bad woman for little Tian. Meng Yao didn't say anything when she heard the verdict. Gong Yu respectfully kowtowed. Thank you, Your Majesty, for not killing me. Gong Yu's attitude of admitting her mistake was rather good, and she did not anger Yi Hua. Guards, bring Gong Yu to the dungeon. Yi Hua shouted out lightly. After that he threw out a seal and sealed Gong Yu's cultivation. Without Yi Hua's main body dispelling the seal, Gong Yu was just an ordinary person. Two black-armored warriors appeared by Gong Yu's side and took her away. Gong Yu was most reluctant to part with Yi Juetian. She did not know when she would be able to see Yi Juetian again. However, since Yi Juetian had spoken up for her, she did not have any regrets. Actually, women's requirements were very low. They just wanted to be cared for. Gong Yu could feel Yi Juetian's concern for Yi, but Yi could not feel Yi Juetian's concern. And Yi Juetian could not feel Gong Yu's concern either. It was too chaotic. Bring Xiao Tian away. Yi Hua said faintly. Qinya and the others nodded their heads, then brought Yi Juetian away, leaving behind only Yi Hua and Meng Yao. Dealing with Gong Yu wasn't something that Yi Hua instructed Meng Yao to do, and it was something that Yi Hua had to deal with. As for the final result, it wasn't something that Yi Hua was seeking Meng Yao's opinion on. After all, this was Voidless Empire's matter. However, Yi Hua still said gravely, Meng Yao, I owe you a favor. He then took out a jade slip and said, crush this jade slip. No matter what happens, this emperor will settle it for you. Meng Yao didn't stand on ceremony and took the jade slip. You don't seem to have any opinion about this punishment. Yi Hua lit up a stick of cigarette and asked curiously. Meng Yao replied, she's just a pitiful woman. As a god, I shouldn't be so calculative with her. At first, Meng Yao had wanted Gong Yu dead, but after hearing Gong Yu's story, her heart was moved. He was an exalted god, and he was going through a tribulation. This was a test from the heavens, and he shouldn't be so serious. Just as Gong Yu had said, he might be jealous. Meng Yao, in actuality, Xiao Tian and I have an agreement. Yi Hua said faintly. This could also be considered as saying a few good words for his little brother, trying to make up to him as much as possible. Agreement. Yes, I won't kill you, he won't see you. Yi Hua said faintly. Meng Yao was slightly shaken after hearing this. After a while she said lightly, this is just a relationship tribulation. Moreover, I don't see it that seriously. All right. See you again, Meng Yao said indifferently. Yi Hua nodded his head, and Meng Yao disappeared from where she was. However, Yi Hua could see that this woman was forcefully enduring. Meng Yao returned to her training room, and took out her handkerchief. She put the lollipop in her mouth and couldn't hold back her tears anymore. How could he not take it seriously? Yi Hua extinguished the cigarette butt and returned to his mother's bedroom. Yi Juetian was lying on the bed. That slap just now was not light at all, and he had yet to wake up. Yi Hua, what happened to Xiao Tian? Lu Jing asked worriedly. Qinya and the others didn't dare to say it, and thus Yi Hua was the one to tell them. Yi Hua let out a sigh. It's nothing much, I just hit him. Ah, you hit him so heavily, Lu Jing said lightly. Yi Hua felt that Yi Juetian's irresolute and indecisive personality was brought out by his mother's pampering. Therefore, this was precisely the reason why I, the Supreme Overlord, wanted to let Yi Juetian go out to prevent him from being spoiled rotten by Qinya and Donghuang Baiji. If that happens, Yi Juetian would end up dying for a woman. However, now that his mother's illness had recovered, it was a great news. This way, I will be able to go and deal with Wei Chong who had gone missing and Qing Su who had escaped with Dou Fusher. Qinya and the others all felt that Granny doted on Yi Juetian a bit. Yi Hua woke Yi Juetian up, and Yi Juetian who was lying on the bed immediately sat up and looked at his surroundings. Where are Yi and Gongyu? Yi Juetian hurriedly asked his big brother. Yi Hua sat at the side, and Daji was respectfully pouring tea for her master. Yi went back, and Gongyu is being imprisoned by me for life, Yi Hua said faintly. When Lu Jing heard how Gongyu dealt with the matter, she let out a sigh of relief. No matter what, Gongyu was still half a daughter-in-law, and if she was killed, Lu Jing would still feel a bit bad. Hearing this result, Yi Juetian seemed to have lost all his strength. However, this could also be counted as the best result, right? You can go and take a look, but you are only allowed to go once a month, Yi Hua said coldly, giving the biggest concession he could. After that, he walked out of the bedroom, because right now he had to make arrangements for another matter. However, before he left, he called Yi Yuanqing over. Big brother. Yi Yuanqing stood in front of Yi Hua and asked curiously. Yi Hua patted onto Yi Yuanqing's head. Have you thought things through during this period of time? Big brother, I think I know what I should do now. Yi Yuanqing's gaze was filled with determination. Very good, if there are difficulties then ring the bell. There will be a surprise. Thank you, big brother. Yi Hua smiled lightly. When the time comes, big brother will congratulate you. My little sister is going to become the empress of God's realm. Big brother, even if she becomes an empress, she will still be big brother's little sister. And there is no need to inform me when you go back. Big brother is going to be busy during this period of time. Alright, big brother, I understand. Yi Hua nodded his head, then left and called Zhu Tian and Brett over. Right now, the husband and wife had an important mission. Wei Chang's disappearance needed them to investigate. Zhu Tian and Brett quickly received the news, then came before Yi Hua and shouted out respectfully, Subordinate, we pay our respects to your honor. I need you two to go and investigate Wei Chang's disappearance. No matter where he is, if he is alive, I want to see him. If he is dead, I want to see his corpse. Yi Hua said coldly. We will solemnly obey your honor's decree. Go on, be careful. The other party was even able to get rid of Wei Chang. You two cannot let your guard down. I have already lost one. I do not wish to lose another. Yi Hua said lightly. I completely didn't expect that there would still be such a person in Kangluo continent. Just like how a level 100 god was acting cool in a newbie village, in the end there was another level 100 god that was also acting cool in the newbie village. Zhu Tian suggested. Your honor, right now we are short on manpower. Should we consider calling him back? This way, we will be able to help your honor out of your troubles. Yi Hua knew who Zhu Tian was talking about. There was still one last subordinate. I will consider it. You two can go and investigate this matter as soon as possible. Yes, your honor. We will be leaving first, Zhu Tian said respectfully. Yi Hua waved his hand, then turned around and walked towards the throne. Yi Hua slowly closed his eyes and began searching for Envy's whereabouts. After a long while, Yi Hua slowly opened his eyes, and his gaze was very grave. Envy's aura was blocked off. End of this chapter. Chapter 1172. Was it a coincidence that his three subordinates had disappeared at the same time? Or was it man-made? If it was a coincidence, that would be fine. If it was done by someone who would have such strength. Yi Hua's brows were tightly knitted as he sank into deep thought. His eyes were emitting a cold red glow. After a long while, Yi Zizi, Yi Hua shouted. Very quickly, Yi Zizi appeared in the palace and shouted out, "Subordinate pays respect to your honor. Go and bring envy back to me, no matter what method we use." Yi Hua said gravely. "Your honor, did envy disappear?" Yi Zizi raised her head and asked curiously. "Yes, his aura has been blocked." "Your honor, where was the last place he appeared?" Yi Zizi asked. Yi Hua thought for a moment. "It's in Minglan communal country. Isn't that deity institution's territory?" Yi Zizi stared blankly for a moment. The two little sovereigns were both over there. "Yes. Can I ask Kayin to come with me? I'm scared to be alone," Yi Zizi said pitifully. Actually, it was just that she was too bored and wanted to find someone to accompany her. Yi Hua was tickled by Yi Zizi's expression. With a light laugh he said, "Let Kayin go with you. The two of you be careful." "Yes." At first, Yi Zizi was very happy. What was so fun about the imperial palace? Only going out was fun. Seeing that Yi Zizi had accepted the order and left, Yi Hua let out a sigh of relief. Basically, all of the main forces have been sent out, and there is still Lai Gu who is sleeping in the valley. This Wushu Empire had his main body overseeing it, so no one dared to come and provoke him. On the other side, Yi Juetian arrived at the entrance of the heavenly prison. The two black-armored warriors stood guard at the side, thinking that they were also locked inside. Behind them was Yi, but they didn't dare to meet Yi. If they had gone and given Yi some courage, how good would that have been? But now it was too late to say anything. But because of him, Gongyu had gotten herself into a huge mess, and was now locked up in there as well. He was truly a troublemaker. Big Brother letting him see it once a month was already the most lenient thing he could do. Walking into the heavenly prison, a flight of stairs extended downwards. It was so deep that the bottom could not be seen. A damp aura hit them in the face, and the sound of water dripping made them feel the invasion of loneliness. After arriving at the lowest level, Yi Juetian saw a beautiful figure. She was sitting on the ground, tightly hugging her legs, looking very helpless. Yi Juetian felt that Yi might have looked like this when she was locked up here. When Gongyu heard the faint footsteps, she raised her head and her delicate face immediately lit up with joy. "Jutian." Gongyu stood up and grabbed the iron bars with both hands, her face filled with incomparable joy. Yi Juetian had come to see him. How nice. Yi Juetian walked in front of Gongyu and looked at the woman who was crying tears of joy. What did he do to deserve such care from her? "Gongyu, I'm sorry. I've caused you trouble," Yi Juetian said in a deep voice. He knew that an apology would not solve the problem. "No, absolute heaven, I don't blame you really," Gongyu said with a faint smile as she wiped away the tears of joy. Yi Juetian took a deep breath and said in a deep voice, "Gongyu, since I chose you, I should be responsible for you." Gongyu was immediately stupefied when she heard that. She felt as if she was hearing things. Did absolute heaven just say that he would take responsibility for her? Is this real or fake? "Even if you have to stay here for the rest of your life, I will take responsibility for you." Yi Juetian gave a man's promise. Gongyu's expression gradually became tense, and then, she squatted down and started crying loudly. She had left her home and entrusted her heart to this man in front of her. She had been sad before, and now she was even happier. She finally heard the promise that he gave her. Yi Juetian stretched out his hand and lightly stroked Gongyu's hair. "Big Brother promised me that I can come and see you once a month." "That's great, absolute heaven." Gongyu tightly held onto Yi Juetian's hand, not willing to let go. However, the current Yi Juetian felt guilty towards Gongyu, and making up for her was greater than love. In Yi Juetian's heart, it was possible that the one he loved would forever only be the dead Yi. Yi Juetian slowly sat on the ground and closely accompanied Gongyu. This woman turned from kind to evil. It was hard to imagine just what she had experienced. "All right, absolute heaven, you should quickly go back. Come and see me next month." Gongyu squeezed out a smile and said, "Of course." She hoped that Yi Juetian would be able to accompany her more. Yi Juetian let out a deep sigh. "Gongyu, I will think of a way to make Big Brother let you out." "Absolute heaven, you don't have to be anxious. Actually, this place is pretty good, it's quiet. I can also properly reflect on myself. Hearing Yi Juetian's words, Gong Yu was still very happy in her heart. With Yi Juetian's words, I will definitely follow him. Yi Juetian looked at the surrounding cold environment. Back then, if Yi was sitting here, just how scared would she be? I'll be leaving first. Yi Juetian stood up and said lightly. Gong Yu was reluctant, but she also knew that it was time for Yi Juetian to leave. I won't be by your side. Take good care of yourself. Eat on time, and rest early. Gong Yu shouted towards Yi Juetian's back. Yi Juetian slightly trembled, then turned his head around and said with a smile, Thank you, Gong Yu. Gong Yu also revealed out a gentle smile. This might be Gong Yu's original personality. Looking at Yi Juetian disappearing from her sight, Gong Yu slowly sat on the ground and closed her eyes, and a trace of an arc appeared on the corner of her mouth. When Yi Juetian walked out of the prison, he immediately saw his big brother who was not far away from him currently smoking. Big brother. Yi Juetian called out lightly. Yi Hua took out a stick of cigarette and passed it over to Yi Juetian. Yi Juetian didn't reject it. In the past, I felt that cigarettes were bad things, but now I feel that smoking cigarettes is rather comfortable. Let's take a walk. Yi Hua said lightly. Yi Juetian nodded his head. The two brothers walked on the main road of the palace, and the palace maids that they passed by would respectfully call out to them. I feel that if the emperor and the prince were to wear the same clothes, it would be hard to tell who is who. Big brother, before Yi left, did she say anything? Yi Juetian asked. Yi Hua knew that his little brother would ask about this matter. She didn't say anything. Oh. After hearing that, Yi Juetian was a bit disappointed. Little Tian, her name is Mingyao. In her world, everyone has to address her respectfully. High God Mingyao, she is stronger than you, stronger by a lot. Yi Hua said faintly, dealing a blow to this little brother of his who still didn't understand anything. If one doesn't experience life and death, one will never grow up. Thinking back, I, the Supreme Overlord, grew up amidst life and death, and I had to face death every day. All of my abilities were obtained for free, and they were all exchanged for with my life. There will never be a free lunch falling from the sky, and even if it does, it won't land on your head. High God Mingyao. Yi Juetian said in a low voice. In actuality, when Yi Juetian saw Mingyao today, he already felt that Mingyao was very strong. Yi Hua flicked away the ash from his cigarette, then said lightly, However, Big Brother still left a trump card for you. Whether or not you are able to redeem Mingyao will have to depend on your abilities. Big Brother? Yi Juetian was a bit stupefied, and he asked dumbfoundedly. End of this chapter. Chapter 1173. I gave Mingyao a piece of jade, and told her to crush it when something happens. I'll be able to take care of anything. Yi Hua patted onto his little brother's shoulder. Since Gong Yu has already given you compensation, naturally, Mingyao's compensation will not be lacking. As for whether or not the compensation will be successful, Big Brother doesn't care anymore. If it was a woman he liked, then he would fight for it himself. Big Brother, are you saying that you want me to go and help Mingyao? Yi Juetian cried out in surprise, as if he saw the light of hope again. Yi Hua nodded his head. That's right. You look so similar to me, and you impersonated as Big Brother to go and solve the problem for me. After that, you then revealed your identity. Don't tell me that Mingyao wouldn't be touched? F***ck, he's tricking Yi. Not only did he trick his own wife, but he also helped his brother trick others. It was simply terrifying. However, Yi Juetian suddenly thought of something. But Big Brother, I'm so much weaker than Mingyao. If she can't deal with it, how can I deal with it? A man. If they were content with the status quo, then what was the difference between him and a cripple? Heights were always meant to be climbed. If you don't have the strength, then go cultivate. Women will only attach themselves to powerful men. Excellence is the most important factor in attracting women. She is now Mingyao, not that stupid Yi. If you want to regain someone's heart, you can't rely on your mouth, you can rely on your strength. Yi Hua's words could be said to have enlightened Yi Juetian. In Yi Juetian's heart, with such a powerful Big Brother, all I have to do is to hug onto his thigh tightly. He had completely neglected his own growth. A person without strength was no different from a salted fish. If I, Yi Juetian, want to be a salted fish, it was also the saltiest one. Big brother, teach little brother how to become a strong person. Yi Juetian immediately knelt in front of his big brother and lowered his head. The reason why Yi Hua was waiting for Yi Juetian outside was also because of this matter. My younger brother cannot continue idling around. If not, he will be crippled. Yi Hua helped his younger brother up. Let's talk while we walk. Yes. Big brother knows a world where there are no humans, only prehistoric divine beasts and prehistoric ferocious beasts. They can take your life in minutes. Yi Hua said gravely, if I want to become strong, I can only rely on myself to become strong. The interference of external forces will only restrict the growth of my strength. To be honest, Yi Hua also didn't want his younger brother to go to that place. However, if his younger brother wanted to become stronger, that place was the best world for him. Life and death were decided by a single thought. Every decision he made would affect his life. Those rare ferocious beasts were all found in that world. For gods, rare ferocious beasts were nothing in that world. Everywhere was filled with the smell of death. Now that the Supreme Being was gone, death was only a matter of time. Ju Tian, if you don't want to go, Big Brother won't blame you. After all, Big Brother doesn't want you to go either. He would rather you go and become a profligate son. Yi Hua said lightly. He wasn't trying to agitate Yi Juetian, but if his little brother really died, then, as the big brother, he would become a sinner. At the same time, he didn't want to see his brother in such a depressed state. He needed to fight monsters above his level. Only in that kind of environment would he be able to recover quickly. Yi Hua didn't hope that his younger brother would be able to surpass him. It would be fine as long as his younger brother could be on par with 7 deadly sins. Yi Juetian's gaze was resolute. I'll go. Don't be in a hurry to agree. Think about it for a month. Yi Hua said faintly. Perhaps, right now, Yi Juetian had agreed to Yi Hua's request in a moment of hot-headedness. Only when one is calm would one's judgment be reliable. Yi Juetian didn't say anything as he pondered. Let's go to Mother's place to eat first. Now that Mother's illness has healed, you should accompany her properly. Yi Hua said lightly. All right, I will. During this period of time, I have neglected Mother too much. I have let Mother down. It's good that you know. Women are important, but family love is also inseparable. If a woman is gone, you can always find another one, but if a mother is gone, then she will truly be gone. Yi Hua began instilling his own logic into Yi Hua. If Yi Hua and the others were to hear what he said, they would definitely be angry and ignore him for a few days. If Yi Hua were to answer, if your wife and mother fell into the water at the same time, who would you save? Yi Hua wouldn't hesitate to say that he would save Mother. Today's meal was personally cooked by the 4 daughters-in-law, and it was very sumptuous. It could be considered as celebrating Mother's recovery. Yi Hua and Yi Juetian walked into the room, and Yi Hua asked curiously, "Where's Yuan Qing?" Lu Jing said with a slight smile. Yuan Qing went back, and he asked me to inform you. Yi Hua nodded his head. It's good that my little sister has thought things through. However, my little sister's side might not be so relaxed. That Donghuang surname is very mysterious, and it should be related to the royal family. If my little sister wants to seize the throne, the people of the Donghuang surname will definitely not sit and watch. The bell that I gave to my little sister should be able to deal with this matter. However, is that Donghuang surname related to Donghuang Baiji or not? Yi Hua's intuition told him that there is definitely a connection between the two of them. Yi Hua took a look at Donghuang Baiji, who was carrying the dishes. Perhaps she is carrying grievances on her back, and perhaps she doesn't even know about it. This matter can be pushed back a bit. I should first find my 3 subordinates first. This is the most important matter. There isn't any news about Qing Su from Whitebone's side. Seems like I have to go and rummage through my treasury to see if there are any treasures that can be used to find people. Yi Hua, what are you thinking about? Lu Jing asked curiously. Mother, it's nothing much. How do you feel today? Do you feel uncomfortable anywhere? Yi Hua asked caringly. Lu Jing said tenderly, Mother has already recovered, and just now Yutong and the others said that they are going to bring me on a trip. Trip? Yihua looked towards Qing Yutong. Qing Yutong placed the dishes on the table and said tenderly, "Brother-in-law, my big sister was just about to tell you about this matter." Yihua looked towards Qingya. "What are you two planning to do again?" Qingya placed the chopsticks on the table and said tenderly, "Yihua, it has been a long time since Yutong and I went back to visit our parents, so we are planning to bring Mother and Yuqing to go on a trip. We can also go and visit Mother while we are at it." "Oh, is that so? When are you planning to leave?" Yihua felt that it was fine. Mother and Yuqing have never been to Earth before, and it is quite safe over there. Thus Yihua wasn't too worried. Qing Yutong said happily, "We will leave in a few days." "Baiji, aren't you going?" Yihua looked towards the Empress and asked curiously. Donghuang Baiji rolled her eyes at Yihua. "I have to at least leave one person behind to take care of you, right? If not, there won't be anyone to wash those smelly socks of yours." Ah! Hearing Donghuang Baiji's teasing, everyone laughed. Yihua was helpless. To think that I would say such a thing, Mother wouldn't even scold me. However, it is also good for them to go on a trip, at least I can be a bit more at ease. "Alright, let's eat. Little Tian, eat more, you have become thinner these few days." Lu Jing said lightly as she picked up a chicken drumstick and gave it to her son. End of chapter. Chapter 1174. Yi Juetian looked at the chicken drumstick in the bowl and took a deep breath. "Mother, I have discussed with Big Brother. I want to become stronger." Lu Jing was taken aback for a moment, then she smiled happily and said, "That's a good thing. Little Tian, you've finally grown up." Sure enough, in Lu Jing's eyes, Yi Juetian was like a child that hadn't grown up, and he had matured a bit after going through this matter. "Little Tian, where are you going?" Qian Yuqing asked curiously. "It's a very dangerous place," Yi Juetian said solemnly. When Lu Jing heard this, she frowned. "Dangerous place? How dangerous? Are the people there very fierce?" Yihua put down his chopsticks and said lightly, "Mother, there is no one there. There are only ancient divine beasts and ancient ferocious beasts." "What?" Lu Jing exclaimed. Yi Juetian's gaze was resolute. "Mother, I want to become stronger. I want to become a real man and shoulder responsibility." Lu Jing did not say anything and slowly put down her chopsticks. Everyone looked at Lu Jing. "Little Tian, you've really grown up. Mother is very pleased." Lu Jing gently held her son's hand and said with relief. In actuality, Lu Jing didn't want her youngest son to go out and take risks from the bottom of her heart. Yihua had just returned, and Xiao Tian had already gone out to take risks. As a mother, she only hoped that her children could live happily. However, they were all men, and they carried the family's glory on their shoulders. "Little Tian, Mother supports you." Lu Jing smiled gently. Upon hearing that, Yihua went into a slight daze. "Even I am a bit unable to hold myself back, and yet, my mother actually agreed to it straightforwardly. It was indeed a little surprising." Qian Yuqing revealed a surprised expression. Her mother actually let little Tian take the risk. Yi Juetian tightly held his mother's hands and resolutely said, "Mother, I will not disappoint you. I will make my mother proud of me. Big brother and sisters-in-law. Mother is looking forward to the day you return. My family's little Tian has finally become a man." Lu Jing caressed Yi Juetian's hair lightly. She was incomparably happy. Yi Juetian looked towards Yihua. "Big brother, I have decided." Yihua nodded his head, then said gravely, "Before you go, do a month's worth of preparations first. If there is anything that you need, just tell me, big brother, and make sure to bring everything that you need." "And big brother, I understand." Yi Juetian knew that this time, he had a slim chance of survival, so he had to handle this carefully. Yihua was also very gratified. "After experiencing this matter, my younger brother has also grown up. Similarly, I have also learned a lot of things from this matter." After the meal, Yi Juetian went back to make preparations. At night, Yihua called his 4 wives and prepared to hold a family meeting. The main contents of the meeting were a few points. Yihua sat on the main seat, and his 4 wives sat on both sides of him. Holding on to the teacup, Yihua blew on the tea passionately and took a sip. "A lot of bad things have happened recently and I'm in a bad mood. That's why I want to apologize to you, Yihua said in a low voice. He knew that these women were also feeling wronged. As a man, one must know when to yield and when to stand tall. No matter when, it would be the same. Qingya and Donghuang Baiji snorted. You still know how to admit your mistake. You didn't do anything wrong. How could you have done anything wrong? It's all our fault. The king of blame shifting. Through this matter, I have also gained some enlightenment and reflected on myself. Yihua placed down the teacup and said faintly, Brother-in-law, this is a good thing. Qing Yutong was Yihua's fan, and she followed Yihua unconditionally. At this time, Qian Yuqing also said softly, Yihua, don't blame yourself too much. Adding everything together, your judgment won't be that accurate. Qian Yuqing was about the same as Qing Yutong. She was very lenient towards Yihua. However, Qingya and Donghuang Baiji weren't that easy to talk to. How could they not know about Yihua's character? After talking for a long time, they still didn't get to the main topic. Next, my work will be shifting to finding Wei Chong and the others. It's good that you two are leaving for now. After pausing for a moment, Yihua continued to ask, Qingya, when are you two planning to leave? Qingya let out a breath and said lightly, After discussing with Mother today, we have decided to leave tomorrow. What, so soon? Yihua was a bit surprised. Donghuang Baiji said faintly, Mother seems to be reluctant to part with little Tian, and doesn't want to see that kind of scene of separation. Thus, she plans to leave in advance. Yihua felt that he was very similar to his mother. He was also the kind of person who didn't like to be separated. That's good too. After you two go there, have some fun and accompany Mother to relax, Yihua said with a slight smile. Mother has worked hard for her entire life. It's about time for her to enjoy herself. As for little Tian, it won't be that easy for anything to happen to him. Qingya and Donghuang Baiji nodded their heads. Yihua took a look at the night sky outside and said faintly, It's already quite late, let's rest early. The corners of Qingya and Donghuang Baiji's mouth twitched. After saying that, this is probably his main purpose, right? Qing Yutong revealed out a naughty smile. Qian Yuqing is as pure as a piece of paper. Qingya and Donghuang Baiji took a look at each other, then immediately prepared to run away. Trying to run away. Yihua snorted coldly, then immediately threw out two shackles. Qingya and Donghuang Baiji stopped in midair, then slowly moved towards the room at the back. Yihua, you pervert. What are you trying to do? Let me go. We still haven't forgiven you, Yihua said faintly. Yutong, close the door. All right, brother-in-law, wow, are we going to do something exciting tonight? This feels great. Qing Yutong seemed to be even more excited than Yihua. Qian Yuqing still didn't know what was going on and asked Qing Yutong. Qing Yutong said in a low voice, and Qian Yuqing's beautiful face immediately became bright red, just like a honey peach. Yutong, hold down your big sister for me. All right, Qing Yutong. You traitor. Yuqing, help me hold Baiji down. Ah, Yihua. That isn't good, right? Not obedient, huh? Oh, I'll do it. Donghuang Baiji glared at Yihua. How can you let Yuqing do such a thing? Shameless. You will definitely be gone for a few months, so your husband plans to comfort you tonight. Don't struggle, just enjoy it, Yihua said lightly. This was the purpose of today. Ever since Yuqing came over, I have never had such an exciting time. Qing Yutong shouted out loudly, Brother-in-law, quickly come, I have already stripped big sister naked, quickly come and enjoy. Qing Yutong, see if I don't slap you, traitor, to actually treat big sister like this. Brother-in-law, quickly come and shut big sister's mouth. Yutong, you are still the sensible one. Yihua was very gratified. I didn't take this sister-in-law for nothing. When Yihua woke up the next day, Donghuang Baiji was the only one left beside Yihua. The other three had already left. He looked at his empress. She had been bullied last night, and tears had come out of her eyes. How tragic. End of chapter. Chapter 1175. Yihua sat up and wore his clothes. The empress who was on the bed didn't have any reaction, and Yihua didn't plan to wake her up either. Right now the empress needed to rest. Thinking back to last night's excitement, it felt really good. It turned out that having more wives had such an effect. Interesting. Right when Yihua stepped out of the bedroom, he actually saw the green and red brothers kneeling outside the bedroom. What is the meaning of this? Yihua asked gravely, especially when he looked at LV Liang's severed hand. This fellow's severed hand is a sign of his determination, and he is always on guard against me. This is the style of a man. Lu Liang shouted out respectfully. Subordinate pays respect to your honor. Subordinate pays respect to your honor. Get up. Yihua said faintly. Thank you, your honor. Speak. LV Liang and Yihong took a look at each other. Then LV Liang said respectfully, Your honor, we wish to train together with Lord Yi. Yihua slightly wrinkled his brows. Why did you suddenly have such a thought? Your honor, we are too weak. We are unable to take on the team's daily work. We must bring glory to your honor, not humiliation. Yihua took out a cigarette and lit it up, then quietly smoked. After a long time he asked, Do you know how dangerous it is to go to that place? It's very likely that you won't be able to return. Yihong cupped his hands and said, Your honor, even Prince Yi dares to go. Us brothers naturally dare to as well. Are your women accurate? Yihua asked faintly. The green and red brothers didn't say anything. Yihua knew that the two of them were hiding the truth from him. Would Zishan allow Yihong to throw away her life? As for the blood clan sisters, although they usually looked obedient and sensible, they would definitely resist such a thing. Yihua placed his hands behind his back and said faintly, If your women agree to it, I won't have anything to say about it. However, I don't want to wait for your women to come to me and cry and beg me after you two leave. Looking at his honor's departing figure, Yihong asked in a low voice, Big brother, what should we do? Looks like I still have to go back and lay my cards on the table. LV Shu felt helpless. A showdown? My relationship with Zishan is slightly better. She definitely won't allow it. Even if it's not accurate, it has to be accurate. I want to become stronger. I don't want to do anything that will bring shame to the team. LV Liang clenched her left hand tightly. Her eyes revealed a thirst for power. The scene from that day replayed in her mind every day. She had had enough of it. Yihong knew that her big brother still cared about it, but she requested to go this time for the sake of the future. When Big Brother encountered it that day, he might also encounter it in the future, and the result might be the same as Big Brother. I mustn't bring shame to his honor, and I mustn't bring shame to the team either. I must cultivate. Let's go back and lay all our cards on the table. Yihong clenched both of her hands tightly. I hope that I can help his honor solve this problem. And at the same time, I also want to find Uncle Wei. Let those bad guys know that everyone in the team is an existence that they can't afford to offend. The green and red brothers immediately returned to their own chambers. LV Lu was looking at his two wives trimming the flowers with a very serious expression. LV Liang smiled and shouted, Come here for a moment. Hubby, what's wrong? His sister, Celine, was still quite cheerful. With a happy smile, she stood behind LV Liang and massaged him. Serena sat beside him and asked softly, What's wrong, honey? There's something I want to talk to you about, LV Lu said with a faint smile. What is it? Serena asked softly. I want to go and gain experience. LV Liang did not beat around the bush and said directly. In actuality, the news of Yi Juetian wanting to go and gain experience had already spread throughout the team. It must be said that the team's intelligence work is really good. If not, LV Liang and Yihong wouldn't have gone to Yi Juetian's place early in the morning. Celine bit onto her lips and slowly sat beside Yihua. The two of them knew that LV Liang cared about that day a lot. Although LV Liang was much better these few days, it was all just an act. Do you really want to go? Serena asked in a low voice. Big sister, you can't let hubby go. Celine knew what her big sister wanted to do, but she didn't want to. Going to that place would be the same as sending herself to death. Serena's considerations were more thorough. Even if I don't agree to go, LV Liang will still go. Sometimes, when a man makes a decision, one must support him. Furthermore, even his honor's own younger brother is going to go, so what else can other people say? Hubby, I support you, Celine said with a slight smile as she held onto LV Liang's hand. After so many years, I have also deeply loved this man. LV Liang didn't expect that his wife would open the door for him like this. LV Liang hugged onto Celine tightly, but Celine seemed to be unhappy as she sat at the side. Celine said tenderly, "Hubby, although I allowed you to go, if you don't come back, I won't be able to continue living on my own." LV Liang's body trembled. With a wife like this, what more can a husband ask for? With the two of them in this life, it is the heaven's blessing for me. You two can be at ease. I will come back. I will come back with glory. I swear. Right now, LV Liang's blood was boiling, and he couldn't wait to increase his strength. LV Liang's side had passed, but Yi Hong's side was not that simple. "What? You want to go to that place?" After hearing what Yi Hong said, Zishan was completely astonished. "Zishan, I want to become stronger. I want to contribute to the team. I don't want to do those small things anymore." "Forget it. Don't say anymore. I am going to smash my head into the wall and commit suicide. You go ahead." After speaking, Zishan prepared to smash her head into the wall. "You are a deity. Even if you were to smash through the wall, the one that would be injured would still be the wall, not your head." Yi Hong hugged onto Zishan and said gravely, "Zishan, listen to me." I'm not listening. Calm down a bit. My husband is going to commit suicide, and you are still telling me to calm down. Are you sick? Yi Hong. Wife, this time I have to go. I will go with you then. Zishan said coldly. You want me to become a widow, but I am not willing to do that. If I am to die, I will die together with you. Yi Hong felt that his head was about to explode. Wife, so many years have passed, and I have always listened to you, but this time can you listen to me for once? Since you have already listened to me, then listen to me for your entire life. Yi Hong expressed that he was angry, and he fiercely slapped onto Zishan's buttocks. You slapped me. Zishan looked at Yi Hong and said absent-mindedly. Yi Hong was confused by his own actions. I actually slapped Zishan, it's over. Now, I am even more unwilling to go. Zishan's eyes could be seen turning red as she pointed at Yi Hong. You slapped me. You don't love me anymore. You don't love me anymore. Oh my God. Does a tigress have such a side to her? If I had known, I would have ruthlessly slapped Zishan back then. Be obedient. I didn't do it on purpose. I will help you rub it. I don't want you to rub it. It hurts so much. You don't want me anymore. Zishan, let me go. Listen to me for once. Let my man go. Yi Hong said seriously. End of chapter. Chapter 1176. Zishan didn't say anything and quietly snuggled into Yi Hong's embrace. Zishan felt very warm. After a while, Zishan said lightly, Will you come back alive? Of course. Good. If you don't come back alive, I will definitely take revenge on you. I am already dead. And you still want to take revenge on me? That's right. I will make you a cuckold. I will make you wear it every day. Yi Hong. This is rather ruthless. However, Yi Hong knew that Zishan was just joking. Yi Hong hugged Zishan tightly and said tenderly, Wife, thank you. Husband, you must come back alive. You must come back alive. And I will definitely come back alive. When the time comes, husband will bring honor to you. And I am proud of you. This was the first time that Zishan said this, causing Yi Hong to be very excited. With the support of my wife, my entire body is filled with power. Right now, Yi Hua was currently searching through his treasury to see if there were any treasures that could be used to track him. There were indeed some treasures, but they were all ordinary treasures that wouldn't be of any use at all. Just as Yi Hua was pondering, the Green and Red brothers' voices rang out. Subordinate pays respect to your honor. Yi Hua slowly opened his eyes, and seeing that the Green and Red brothers had brought their wives over. It seems like I have managed to convince them. These two brothers sure are in a rush. Yi Hua looked at them and asked faintly, Have you thought it through? The Green and Red brothers knelt on the ground and shouted out respectfully, Your honor, we have thought it through. If we are unable to bring honor to your honor, what difference is there from death? I admire your attitude. Since you have already decided, then set off together with Yi Juetian. The Green and Red brothers were delighted. Thank you, your honor. Zishan and the Blood Race sisters remained silent. All kinds of unwillingness were present in their hearts. Right at this moment, Tang Wei suddenly appeared in the palace. Subordinate pays respect to your honor. Tang Wei, what's the matter? Yi Hua asked faintly. Right now, Wei Chang is missing, and the one who is most worried about him is most probably Tang Wei. Tang Wei said respectfully, Your honor, I want to go and gain experience. Yi Hua's brows wrinkled, and he didn't immediately agree to it. Your honor, Uncle Wei is missing, but I am powerless. I hate myself for being weak, but when Uncle Wei needs me, I am unable to do anything. Please promise me. Tang Wei fiercely kowtowed on the ground. Everyone looked at Tang Wei and felt pity in their hearts. These few days, Tang Wei had been living a very painful life. Every night, she would wash her face with tears. However, during the day, she had to pretend that nothing had happened. Hearing what Tang Wei said, Yi Hua became silent. Wei Chang was currently missing, not dead. If he were to come back one day and find out that Tang Wei had died, how am I supposed to explain this to him? What was there to explain? Tang Wei, nothing will happen to Wei Chang. You don't have to be like this. Right after Yi Hua finished speaking, another beautiful figure appeared at the scene. Your honor, I want to go and gain experience. Li Hun shouted respectfully, already determined to leave. Yi Hua was very speechless. Did these people go crazy today? Are they all going to die? What is the reason for this? Yi Hua asked Li Hun. Li Hun said respectfully, I can't even protect my own man. Now that I've lost him, I want to cultivate hard so that I can protect little Daodu. If Do Fusher was here and heard this, he would definitely spit out blood. How about you be the man, and I be the woman? Li Hun's domineering words caused even Yi Hua to be shocked. Do Fusher, you are a tragedy. However, with such a woman by my side, I won't waste my life. I should properly cherish this woman. Just as Yi Hua was about to continue speaking, another beautiful figure appeared at the scene. However, Yi Hua didn't expect that this person would actually be the weakest person in history, Dongfang Yuan. Your honor. Dongfang Yuan shouted respectfully. What are you doing here again? Yi Hua was already able to guess what was going on. Your honor, I want to go and gain experience. Dongfang Yuan said weakly. Just this voice and this appearance of hers that was being bullied was the favorite of the beasts. Yi Hua held onto his forehead. Originally, I only wanted my little brother to go and gain experience, but in the end, a large group of people came over and said that they want to go and gain experience. Do you all think that you are going to go sightseeing? Do you all know what it means to have a narrow escape from death? If all of you go, I reckon that only one of you will return alive. Why do you want to go as well? Isn't it good for you to stay here? Yi Hua asked in a low voice. This Dongfang Yuan has always been following Zhu Tian obediently. Why did she suddenly want to go and increase her strength? Where is Zhu Tian's other wife, Guan Yanxin? In actuality, Dongfang Yuan came over sneakily, and she didn't tell Guan Yanxin about it. Dongfang Yuan said tenderly, Your honor, Zhu Tian and Big Sister are both people with outstanding strength. I also want to become stronger and help your honor solve his problems. Damn you women, I'm afraid that you all are just bored to death. Is there anyone else who wants to go? Why don't you all just form a group and go on a tour while you are at it? After that, you all will be exterminating all of the monsters in that world. You all are just forming a group to fight a boss, right? Do you all want me to arrange a tank, a damage dealer, and a healer for you all? The kind that can even distribute equipment. Yi Hua's subordinates remained silent. Yi Hua shouted out coldly. Do you all think that we are going there to play? We will die, do you all know that? We will die. We will not be able to come back. Do you all think that I will go and save you all? I won't. I won't even care about my own little brother. This is simply like playing house. Seeing that his honor was angry, no one dared to say anything. I can find a bunch of reasons. All of them are invincible. They are just looking for a thrill. Yi Hua scolded out. Right now, I have no second thoughts, but when I go to that world, I will know what it means to live a life worse than death. Dongfang Yuan begged respectfully. I hope that your honor will allow us to do so. Although Dongfang Yuan looked very weak on the outside, and everyone wanted to bully her, her heart was very strong. Once she had decided on something, No one would be able to change her mind. Not even a Koran would be able to do so. Following Dongfeng Yuaner's begging, the others hurriedly shouted out at the same time. I hope that your honor will allow us to do so. Hearing that, Yihua laughed lightly. All right. You all are courting death. I won't stop you all. 1 month later. All of you will set off and die. You all want me to come and save you all. Dream on. After finished speaking, Yihua disappeared from the throne. In Yihua's heart, only the members of the 7 deadly sins would be able to go to that world. For someone with Yihang's strength, it would already be good for her to be able to protect herself. Furthermore, that world wasn't a one-on-one battle. The ancient ferocious beasts and divine beasts would gather together, and as long as the battle starts, more and more divine beasts would be attracted over. The divine beasts would have all kinds of strange spells, making it hard for one to guard against them. Even if the divine beasts were unable to kill you, they would still be able to exhaust you to death. Yihua returned to his bedroom. Right now, Donghuang Baiji had already woken up. She was currently sitting in the pavilion and playing the zither, and her mood seemed to be rather good. As expected, a woman still needs to be developed a bit. If not, how could her mood be good? End of this chapter. Chapter 1177. Yihua sat in front of Donghuang Baiji, picked up the teapot, poured a cup of water, and drank it in one gulp, making it seem as if he was drinking wine. What's wrong? Who provoked you? Donghuang Baiji asked curiously. These subordinates are all acting like they're just playing around. They all want to go and gain experience. They're all crazy. Yihua said gravely. Of course, I don't wish for so many people to go and die. If that Tang Wei, Li Han, and Dongfang Yu were to all die, how am I supposed to explain to them? It was really a little frustrating. Yihua, actually after Wei Chang's matter, everyone wants to become stronger. I can understand that. Donghuang Baiji said tenderly. Standing behind Yihua, Donghuang Baiji's fingers lightly pressed onto Yihua's temples. Yihua closed his eyes and his heart felt slightly more comfortable. Baiji, this is the same as courting death. If all of you die, I won't be able to bear it. Then I'll help a little. Help? What kind of experience would that be? Should I, the Supreme Overlord, play with them? Yihua reprimanded. How can I have such thoughts? This is too terrifying. Then let them go. We'll probably be wiped out. Look, you refute everything that I say. In actuality, you are still looking down on them too much. Donghuang Baiji said lightly. Yihua asked puzzledly. What do you mean by that? In truth, all of them want to work for you in their hearts, and not just laze around all day. This time, you sent out Absolute Heaven, Yi Zizi, Brett, and Kai Yun, these main forces, while they don't have any quests. What do you think they will think? I'm just thinking that I'm definitely too weak, and His Honor doesn't think highly of me. Yihua said gravely. I don't want them to go out and take risks. The other party was even able to deal with Wei Chang. Even if they went out, they would not be of any use. You know it too, and they know it too. That's why they want to work hard to increase their strength, so that you don't have to worry anymore. They can share your burdens, yet you still scold them. If others had subordinates like you, they would wake up laughing even in their dreams. You really don't know how lucky you are. After hearing what the Empress said, Yihua felt that what the Empress said was a bit reasonable. This desire to become stronger is indeed not bad. I, the Supreme Overlord, admire it. It seemed that he really had to be ruthless to himself. He couldn't treat them like children anymore. Whether they lived or died would depend on their luck. With so many people going together, they would more or less be able to take care of each other. Wouldn't they be wiped out within a day? That was unknown. Then let them go. You go and talk to them. I am currently angry. Yihua walked into the house, and Donghuang Baiji shook her head. This bad habit of wanting to save face will definitely never be able to be changed. There were so many people in the entire group that wanted to court death, and as the boss he would definitely be worried. However, he also couldn't stop them too much. This was what Yihua was feeling conflicted about. Evil Men City. The current Evil Men City had already been split into two by a deep chasm. The The Sky Arena was also forced to be cancelled. It was because Deity Institution's principal Tai He went missing. This made everyone in Deity Institution panic badly. The principal actually went missing. How could this be? Did he fall into the chasm and die? That was a supreme being, not a little chick. The news of Tai He's disappearance quickly spread throughout the south, because this was the case of the supreme being's disappearance. However, probably no one would have thought that Tai He would be smashed by a single punch from Kai Yun, and it was even done in front of everyone. Towards this news, both City Lord Mu Hong and Xian Ba knew about it. However, they did not dare to say it out. To be able to smash an supreme being with a single punch, no one knew just how formidable that shorty was. On the second day, Chang Hen returned to Broken Meridian Sect. Because countless mountains in Broken Meridian Sect had collapsed, the entire Broken Meridian Sect could be said to be in a complete mess. Deity Institution had lost a principal, and Broken Meridian Sect had almost been destroyed by more than half. This was just the aftermath of the fight between Wei Chang and the black-clothed man. For a fight to reach such a degree, it was definitely not a joke. Long Outyin and the others did not expect that such a thing would actually happen in this evil men city. We cannot continue staying here. Before the sky had even brightened, Long Outyin brought his people and left, heading north. Qi Shuwen was the same as well. This place was not suitable to stay for long. Furthermore, something had happened to Water City. I have to hurry back. Xian Ba and Qi Shuwen had not met each other yet. Back then, the two of them were still good brothers. Zhu Tian and Brett's mission was to find Wei Chang. The two of them had already been at the scene for a very long time, and they were judging based on their own experience. Zhu Tian, from the looks of it, the degree of destruction here is very ordinary. This is not Wei Chang's full strength. Brett said indifferently. Right now, they could only deduce from these large pits because they could not find any clues at all. Zhu Tian rubbed his chin, standing in the void, he said indifferently. And this is indeed not Wei Chang's full strength. However, the opponent's strength is not weak either. Wei Chang is controlling his strength to avoid destroying Kangluo continent. Brett said in a deep voice. Then the opponent also has the same attitude? Zhu Tian sank into deep doubt. Brett said. Wei Chang revealed his true form. This is quite rare. Is the opponent really that strong? Maybe the opponent destroyed Wei Chang's physical body, forcing Wei Chang to reveal his true form. No, even Wei Chang's physical body is very strong. How can it be destroyed like this? Brett still could not believe it. Zhu Tian asked Brett. Let me ask you something. Do you believe that there is someone here who is evenly matched with us? Of course not. Brett said subconsciously. That's right. Wei Chang also did not believe it, so he underestimated the opponent. Wei Chang, who was forced to reveal his true form, was furious and crushed the opponent. The main point is here. Why did Wei Chang disappear without even sending out a distress signal? Zhu Tian could only speculate up to here. He was unable to understand anymore. Could it be that an even more powerful person appeared and defeated Wei Chang? Brett said in doubt. Impossible. If that person was able to defeat Wei Chang, then this Kangluo continent would be gone. Zhu Tian shook his head and said. Then why? Brett asked in doubt. Zhu Tian's expression became grave. There is only one possibility left. What? Looking at Zhu Tian's expression that was so bad, Brett couldn't help but become worried. Wei Chang betrayed us. They betrayed us. Absolute heaven said coldly. Brett sucked in a cold breath. I wouldn't have thought about this at all. It is possible for anyone to betray us, but how could Wei Chang betray us? It must be said, Zhu Tian was indeed worthy of being the brains of the team. This was the reason why Yi Hua asked Zhu Tian to come over and investigate Wei Chang. Just by looking at the degree of destruction that was caused on the ground, Zhu Tian was pretty close to the truth. If Wei Chang betrayed us, then it would be troublesome. Zhu Tian said gravely. If Wei Chang were to really betray us, then it would be a huge blow to his honor. Back then, Yi Zizi had also betrayed his honor before, but that kind of betrayal only caused Yi Zizi to lose her memory and not recognize her. Wei Chang was obviously not like that. End of this chapter. Chapter 1178. Absolute Heaven said in a deep voice. Wei Chang faked his death, then betrayed us and disappeared. Do you think there's any possibility of this? Women always relied on their intuition. Impossible. You trust Wei Chang that much? Absolute Heaven asked indifferently. Wei Chang would never do something like betrayal. Absolute Heaven chuckled. Don't forget, Wei Chang ate his entire clan. He is a person who can even betray his own clan. Brett was speechless. This was an indisputable fact. After a long while, Brett said softly, Absolute Heaven, we should still look for clues. As long as we find Wei Chang, we will know the truth. But I have a feeling that we are going to become enemies with Wei Chang. Brett snorted. Are your men's instincts accurate? I'm a cat. A cat's intuition is always accurate. TCH. Brett rolled his eyes at Absolute Heaven. However, Absolute Heaven immediately appeared in front of Brett. Lifting Brett's chin, he said, Woman, you've successfully attracted my attention. A black-bellied and overbearing CEO? The corner of Zhu Tian's mouth twitched. After kissing Brett, Zhu Tian looked at the scene and said, Do you know why His Honor told me to look for Wei Chang? Brett rolled his eyes at Absolute Heaven. Isn't it because you're smart? I just said, I'm a cat, and not an ordinary cat. Okay. I know you're an awesome cat. Can we not act cool? You have learned all of His Honor's habits. Brett teased. Absolute Heaven chuckled. Like boss, like subordinate. Hurry up, I'm afraid that only I, Absolute Heaven, can make you, Brett, act like a spoiled child. Hurry up. This is the woman I like. Crazy. Brett covered his forehead and laughed. A slight frown appeared on Absolute Heaven's face as he revealed his true form. I don't know if it will work or not. I can only give it a try. Cyan eyes. Absolute Heaven shouted in a low voice. His pupils instantly turned dark green, and strange runes appeared on his pupils. Seeing that Absolute Heaven was in a daze, Brett asked in a low voice. Absolute Heaven, how is it? Did you see anything? I was smelling it. Then you just shouted glaucoma. It's just a name. Don't speak. Yes. Absolute Heaven slowly entered a world of selflessness. The entire world around him was a vast expanse of darkness. Absolute Heaven opened his eyes and sniffed with his white nose. His pair of dark green eyes suddenly emitted 2 rays of light. This was the scene that Absolute Heaven had simulated based on the smell. This was also the last thing Absolute Heaven could do. 2 rays of light turned into 2 human figures. Yi Juetian continued to sniff, and the human figures started to move. However, when Absolute Heaven saw one of the silhouettes stretching out a long arm, he was certain that it was Wei Chang. After all, Wei Chang was like this. However, the person on the other side had disappeared, leaving only Wei Chang. Absolute Heaven's green eye suddenly disappeared, and his entire body fell to the ground. Although it had only been a few seconds, it was already a huge burden for Absolute Heaven. This move was very frightening. It had consumed 90% of Absolute Heaven's essence, energy, and spirit. In order to accomplish what he had just done, he needed to be highly focused. It was too difficult. Brett felt that only 5 seconds had passed before Absolute Heaven fell to the ground, giving him a huge fright. Absolute Heaven, what's wrong with you? Brett hugged onto Absolute Heaven, and he was also badly frightened. It wasn't easy for Absolute Heaven to return back to his human form, and I still haven't had enough fun yet. If Absolute Heaven knew what Brett was thinking in his heart, he would definitely faint once again. Women, they only know how to feel good. Absolute Heaven gasped for breath, then said gravely, Seems like Wei Chang has really betrayed us. We have to quickly send this news back. What about your body then? I will be fine after resting for a few days. I can be at ease then. What did you see just now? Brett asked puzzledly. Wei Chang killed the other party very easily, and the other party has indeed disappeared. Doesn't this mean anything? Absolute Heaven said coldly. If there really is a traitor among the 7 deadly sins, even if it is Wei Chang, they will still have to die. Brett's expression became very grave. From the current situation, it seems like Wei Chang has really betrayed us. Brett pondered for a moment, then said gravely, Absolute Heaven, investigate this matter again. There must be evidence. if we were to tell His Honor right now that Wei Chang has betrayed us, I'm afraid that it would be inappropriate. There is nothing inappropriate about it. My green eye is the evidence. Then can you tell me why Wei Chang didn't come back, and even concealed his aura? Perhaps Wei Chang is doing something very important? No matter how important it is there a need to hide it from His Honor? You know Wei Chang's strength. Other than His Honor and the 7 deadly sins, the others would only be killed. Telling His Honor about this matter is to let everyone be vigilant. Absolute Heaven had his own considerations. He naturally didn't believe that Wei Chang had betrayed us. However, the truth was right in front of his eyes. That fellow ran away. He wanted to leave the team. If it wasn't for me using my green eye, everyone would have probably already been defeated by Wei Chang. Sigh, alright then. Brett felt that what Absolute Heaven said was right. Right now, Yi Hua was rummaging through his treasury again, and there wasn't any treasure at all. Your Honor. Brett's voice rang out in Yi Hua's mind. While rummaging through his treasury, Yi Hua asked, "What's wrong? Is there any news about Wei Chang?" Your Honor, we have come to a preliminary conclusion, and it isn't any good news. Yi Hua stopped what he was doing, then straightened his body, and his expression became grave. Since Brett said that it was bad news, it must definitely be very bad news. Speak. I'm afraid that Wei Chang has already betrayed us. After hearing that, Yi Hua remained silent. His brows were tightly wrinkled, and he found it hard to believe. After a long while, Yi Hua said gravely, "Continue to investigate. I want to see him in person." Your Honor, if Wei Chang is really seen by Wei Chang, and he betrayed us, what should we do? Yi Hua's eyes flashed with coldness. You all should know what to do. Yes. After finished speaking, Yi Hua left his treasury and sat on the chair with lifeless eyes. Suddenly, Yi Hua chuckled lightly. Wei Chang actually betrayed us. Haha. How is this possible? This honest person actually betrayed us. How is this possible? We have been together for thousands of years. If he wanted to betray us, he would have betrayed us long ago. Why would he choose to betray us now? A terrifying energy emitted out from Yi Hua's body, and this caused the entire Wushu Empire to tremble slightly. Donghuang Baiji immediately sensed it, and she immediately rushed over. Seeing that Yi Hua, who was sitting on the chair, seemed to have sunk into grief and indignation, without even thinking, Donghuang Baiji immediately hugged onto Yi Hua. It's all right now, it's all right now. Donghuang Baiji consoled Yi Hua lightly. This was the first time that Donghuang Baiji saw Yi Hua revealing such an expression. End of this chapter. Chapter 1179. Yi Hua stretched out his hand and lightly hugged onto Donghuang Baiji, then said softly, "Baiji, do you think that Wei Chang will betray me?" Donghuang Baiji's gaze was filled with shock. Wei Chang betrayed me. How is this possible? In Donghuang Baiji's heart, Wei Chang is a loyal subordinate who usually looks simple and honest, and he also cares for Tang Wei a lot. Will such a person betray me? Donghuang Baiji didn't dare to believe it. How can that be? Wei Chang is very smart. Donghuang Baiji consoled. Right now, she could only console Donghuang Baiji. Right now, Yi Hua probably already obtained accurate information. That would be very troublesome. Smart my ass, it is all just an act. Just like before, he doesn't use his brain when doing things. Yi Hua said fiercely, and his aura became stable. I didn't expect that right after I settled my mother's matter, Wei Chang would betray me again. This feeling is really not good. Yi Hua, we haven't seen the person yet, so we can't come to a conclusion too early. Donghuang Baiji said attentively. Yi Hua felt that it was still better to see the person first. However, at the crime scene, Brett ended his conversation with His Honor and said softly, "Ju Tian, His Honor wants us to continue investigating. We definitely have to investigate clearly. Let me rest for a few days first." Ju Tian was a bit weak, and right now he didn't even have the strength to transform into his human form. Brett nodded his head. Let's find a safe place. However, right after Brett finished speaking, the entire sky was shrouded by darkness. Soon after, a black screen descended. Separated black sky. Along with an explosive shout, the entire world seemed to be shrouded by darkness. and the connection with the outside world was instantly cut off. Brett, who was hugging onto Ju Tian's face, became gloomy, and Ju Tian revealed a shocked expression. Wei Chang. Not far away from Brett, Wei Chang's figure appeared. Brett looked at Wei Chang and discovered that Wei Chang's expression and clothes had changed. In the past, Wei Chang had a crew cut, but today, Wei Chang actually had long hair. And there was even an exquisite bun on his hair. Furthermore, Wei Chang was wearing a black silk robe, which gave people a very bad feeling. Furthermore, when Wei Chang, who was used to seeing crew cut, looked at Wei Chang, he seemed to be a completely different person. You guys are finally here. It's within my expectations. However, His Honor will definitely send you, Ju Tian, over. I'm not at ease, so you, Brett, have to come as well. Wei Chang placed both of his hands behind his back and said in a light voice, and a slight smile could be seen on his lips. Standing in Brett's embrace, Absolute Heaven asked in a deep voice, Wei Chang, you betrayed us. This shouldn't be considered a betrayal. I've just found a new way of life. Wei Chang smiled faintly. Indeed, he was a completely different person from before. In the past, Wei Chang was very calm and wouldn't reveal such a smile. However, the current Wei Chang seemed to have let go of himself. It was hard to believe that this was Wei Chang. Brett had no choice but to believe that Wei Chang had betrayed them. Then, what is your current lifestyle? Absolute Heaven asked in a deep voice. Wei Chang clicked his tongue, took a deep breath and said, I'll kill you. Brett and Absolute Heaven's expressions sank. They had never imagined that the first thing Wei Chang would do after betraying them would be to kill them. In order to prevent you all from notifying His Honor, I had intentionally set up a black sky barrier here. As long as you all pay a bit of attention, you will be able to detect it. However, I am also waiting for you. Ju Tian, in the end, you still use green light eyes. Absolute Heaven's expression was very grave. Wei Chang was waiting for him to use glare. This dark version of Wei Chang has become very smart. Ju Tian, if you didn't use glare, I wouldn't be a match for the two of you together, but now. Brett, who had an explosive temper, shouted out angrily. What? Are you looking down on me? Do you think that I can't defeat you? Wei Chang laughed lightly, then shook his index finger. Of course not. If you were by yourself, you would have a 50% chance of winning, but now that you are bringing along a weakened Ju Tian, you would have a 30% chance of winning. Of course, if you don't care about Ju Tian's life and death, we would still have a 50% chance of winning. Looking at that strange smile of Wei Chang's, Brett was about to explode from anger. He couldn't think of any words to curse at Wei Chang. Despicable. His Honor told us to learn about human nature. I feel that being despicable is also a type of human nature, but isn't being despicable also a type of being smart? Ju Tian, the leader of your team is going to be replaced by me. It's a pity that I am no longer a member of your team. Ju Tian pointed his claw at Wei Chang and shouted out gravely, Wei Chang, aren't you afraid of His Honor? Do you think that His Honor will let you off? Afraid? Of course I am afraid of His Honor. His Honor is so powerful. How can I possibly not be afraid? Yet, you still dare to betray His Honor? Ju Tian questioned coldly. Wei Chang let out a light sigh. I am afraid of His Honor, but I didn't say that I don't dare to betray His Honor. There is a difference between the two. If I don't do it because I am afraid, using His Honor's words, what difference is there between me and a salted fish? Absolute Heaven couldn't find any points to refute Wei Chang's words. As he looked at the Wei Chang before him, he felt that Wei Chang was a stranger to him. Cut the crap. Let's fight. Brett directly stuffed Absolute Heaven into his own chest. The latter had a dumbfounded expression on his face. Profound colored treasured moon. A magnificent bow condensed in Brett's hands. Absolute Heaven, who was in Brett's bosom, said in a low voice, Distance yourself from him. With a flash step, Brett widened the distance between them. He placed his right hand on the bowstring and pulled it into the shape of a full moon. An arrow condensed from pure energy appeared on the bow, and a terrifying aura spread out in all directions. Wei Chang's long hair fluttered, and his clothes rustled. Brett, in our entire team, everyone's understanding of each other is rather familiar. You have to be careful, Wei Chang said with a slight smile. Absolute heaven said in a low voice. Brett, don't listen to his alarmist talk. Fight according to your own way of thinking. Enough. You two bastards, stop shouting. When I was fighting, the two of you weren't even born yet. Brett, who had a fiery temper, immediately started scolding. Zhu Tian rolled his eyes, then obediently shrunk into Brett's chest. This woman is truly not to be trifled with. If you have the time to scold people, you should think about how to not die. Wei Chong said lightly, then emitted out a layer of black fog from both of his hands. The black fog then slowly fell onto the ground and fused into the ground. Dark ghost insects. Wei Chong said lightly. Immediately, countless black insects could be seen gushing out from the ground. These insects were able to fly, and they were emitting a faint black light. Buzzing sounds could be heard as they flapped their wings. Immediately, a large number of black insects appeared in front of Brett, and even Wei Chang's figure couldn't be seen anymore. Insignificant skill. Brett loosened his right hand. Baiu. A white arrow carrying a swift and fierce aura flew towards Wei Chang. This was also one of Brett's normal attacks. The white arrow instantly pierced into the mass of black insects, and a white radiance could be faintly seen. Brett's expression turned grave. Wei Chang stood at his original position, not moving at all. The white arrow was like a cloud of smoke as it smashed into Wei Chang's forehead. End of chapter. Chapter 1180. Wei Chang revealed a light smile. Brett, your profound rainbow-treasured moon is indeed very strong, but the only place it is lacking is its energy attack. Don't look at how these insects' attacks are not strong, but there are a lot of them, and they can absorb the energy, so your profound rainbow-treasured moon is useless against me. Brian frowned. Looks like you're targeting me. Of course, His Honor will definitely send Zhu Tian over to investigate me. There is an 80% chance that you will appear here. Of course I have to prepare. Wei Chang smiled faintly, appearing very confident. Brett chuckled and said, so what? After saying that, he drew his bow again, and a violent aura condensed on the bow and arrow. With a whistling sound, he shot towards Wei Chang. I told you, this move is useless against me. Just as Wei Chang finished speaking, he suddenly felt a terrifying aura gathering above his head. Tiger roar and dragon roar. Two white arrows condensed on Brett's bow. When they were shot out, one of them turned into a white tiger. One turned into a white dragon. This was probably the roar of a tiger and the roar of a dragon. A fierce pressure suddenly rushed towards Wei Chang. The two huge mythological beasts opened their mouths as if they wanted to swallow Wei Chang whole. Wei Chang said indifferently, Brett, you seem to have forgotten one thing. In fact, I was born to restrain you. Wei Chang's arms turned into a ferocious big-mouth monster, directly devouring the two energy bodies. His entire body gave off a white light, making him feel very comfortable. Only you, Brett, have such pure energy. Brett's face darkened and he distanced himself. Brett, change your weapon, Absolute Heaven said in a low voice. I know. Brett removed the profound rainbow-treasured moon in his hand, and a bow made of dragon bones immediately appeared in his hand. The bow's tip even had a miniature dragon head, and the bowstring was supported by dragon tendons. The 10 dragon arrows that appeared on the back were also made of dragon bones. Dragonborn. Brett shouted coldly. Wei Chang smiled and said, although you changed your bow, the profound rainbow-treasured moon is your strongest weapon. This dragonborn doesn't do enough damage. Bullshit. Brett pulled out a dragon arrow and shot it into the sky. However, he did not stop there. He shot 5 arrows in a row. Crap! Aren't you being too wasteful? Absolute Heaven could not help but say. You only had 10 dragon arrows, yet you took away 5 of them in one go. Shut up. Absolute Heaven rolled his eyes. This fiery temper of Shurfang's was truly unbearable. 5 elephants annihilation. Brett shouted. 5 dragon arrows floated in the air, giving off a strange aura. The arrowheads were aimed at Wei Chang. Puff. The 5 dragon arrows emitted flames of different colors, illuminating the dark space. The terrifying pressure reappeared once again. The entire space trembled slightly, and the air was like boiling water. As the pressure continued to grow, The space seemed to be on the verge of being torn apart. That's more like one of the 7 deadly sins, Brett, Wei Chang said with a smile. Bayubiabobi. The hovering dragon arrow carried a destructive aura as it flew towards Wei Chang. Before the surrounding insects could even touch the arrow, they were instantly evaporated. These bugs were only effective against energy bodies. When they encountered physical bodies, they were simply unable to withstand a single blow. Tentacles of darkness. Wei Chang smiled. Countless tentacles surged out of the dark space, heading straight for the 5 incoming dragon arrows. Although Dragonmorn was slightly weaker, it was paired with Dragon Arrow and Brett's strength. Just as Wei Chang had said, these were the true 7 deadly sins. Under the pressure of the dragon arrows, cracks began to appear on the ground. If it were not for Wei Chang's sky-separating darkness, the surrounding ground would have already turned into powder. After all, this was a battle against Wei Chang. Brett was going all out. It was impossible for him to go easy on Wei Chang. This was a battle of life and death, not a joke. The moment the tentacles came into contact with the dragon arrows, they turned into thin air. However, the tentacles that kept surging out were also consuming the dragon arrow's power. Right at this moment, Wei Chang felt a dangerous aura assault him, and his brows tightened. He frowned and grabbed the dragon arrow, saying, "Brett, when did you learn how to create a diversion?" Just as Wei Chang finished speaking, another dragon arrow flew towards him, and Wei Chang grabbed it again. "Kill him quickly," Brett shouted coldly. The dragon arrow flew towards Wei Chang's head at an incredible speed. Wei Chang's expression sank, and he tilted his head to the side. Blood floated in the air and sprinkled onto the ground. Wei Chang tightened his grip, and the 2 dragon arrows instantly broke and fell to the ground. Wei Chang stretched out his hand and touched his cheek. Looking at the blood on his finger, Wei Chang said indifferently, "Brett, after doing so much, you only scratched my face? Hee, do you think it's a joke for me to sit on the seat of the 7 deadly sins?" Brett shouted coldly as he quickly formed seals with his hands. Absolute Five-Array. The 5 dragon arrows in the air instantly erupted with an even more terrifying aura. Under this aura, the tentacles were all shattered. The 5 dragon arrows carried the aura of death, and all of them hit their target. A huge rune appeared on the ground. "Be careful," Zhu Tian said in a low voice. However, Brett lowered his head and glared at Zhu Tian. Zhu Tian shrunk his head. Of course, Brett did not expect to be able to kill Wei Chang like this. If it was really that easy, then Wei Chang would not be worthy of the 7 deadly sins' strength. When the smoke dispersed, a black figure appeared once again. However, this time, it was not in human form, but Wei Chang's original body. For some reason, when Brett saw Wei Chang's original body, he felt like vomiting. Those tentacles were too disgusting. Disgusting to the extreme. If Tang Wei saw it, she would definitely break up with him. "Brett, this doesn't seem to be your style," Wei Chang said gravely. "People will change. Do you think that you understand me very well?" Brett snorted coldly. Wei Chang sighed lightly. "Looks like I have indeed underestimated you, Brett." "Wei Chang, I want to ask you something." "Please ask." "Don't you want Tang Wei anymore?" Brett questioned. Wei Chang went into a slight daze, then said with a smile, "When have we ever felt pity for a human? This isn't the style of us 7 deadly sins. Looks like you are planning to abandon everyone. I really miss my previous life. At that time, Lai Gu was still a dog," Wei Chang said with a mocking tone. This caused Brett and Zhu Tian to be even more unhappy. Wei Chang suddenly asked Brett, "Oh right, have you guys seen me using weapons before?" Brett and Zhu Tian went into a daze. They really have never seen it before. Aren't Wei Chang's weapons its tentacles? Other than eating, it only knows how to eat. Could it be that it has other weapons? We have never seen it before? Actually, I do have a weapon. I didn't manage to comprehend it during the previous group wipe, and I only managed to comprehend it recently. Even I myself didn't expect that this weapon would appear. This weapon is a lot stronger than an ancient divine weapon. I wonder if it can reach the legendary weapon that His Honor spoke of. End of this chapter. Chapter 1181. Legendary Weapon. Absolute Heaven and Brett cried out in surprise. His honor had said that legendary weapons were the only weapons that were capable of injuring his honor. If even his honor was able to injure his honor, then there was no need to talk about them. I was planning to keep it a secret, but now I have to reveal my cards. Come out. Tai Sui Giant Shadow. Wei Chang shouted coldly. Half of Wei Chang's tentacle could be seen slowly rising up, and that small head of Wei Chang's gradually swelled up, turning into a ball. If it was a ball, it would be fine, but half of the tentacles had hundreds of them. In other words, hundreds of balls were floating around Wei Chang. Be careful. Absolute Heaven said gravely. Brett could feel the pressure of these balls, and his forehead was already beaded with sweat. This might be a natal weapon. It's my first time using it. Try it out. Wei Chang smiled. The hundreds of balls actually opened their mouths. Brett's entire body was prepared to move at high speed. A terrifying black aura was condensing. Zhu Tian said gravely. Let's think of a way to break through this swelling first. Call his honor over. Brian did not say anything. Wei Chang's life weapon that had suddenly appeared was a little troublesome. However, just as Brett was deep in thought, a wave of killing intent assaulted him. Brett immediately started moving at high speed. Absolute Heaven, who was in his chest, tightly grabbed onto that soft spot. He had no choice, as he felt as though he was about to be flung out. Brett could feel how terrifying this beam of light was. Furthermore, Wei Chang controlled it very well and did not pierce through the black barrier. Such control made Brett's expression turn even heavier. Brett, the speed of the archer is indeed very fast, but it is still a bit too slow. Wei Chang laughed lightly, and all 100+ balls opened their mouths. Brett's expression was grave. Actually, I lied to you just now. With my natal weapon, you and I can only see victory and defeat. I have 10 layers. And you? No. Brett was so enraged that his complexion turned red. If Absolute Heaven had not lost his strength earlier, the two of them would not have fallen into such a predicament. Terrifying light beams shot towards Brett. Brett pushed his speed to the limit, but the light beams were too dense. In just a breath's time, more than 10 wounds had appeared on Brett's body. Although the vital parts had been moved away, Brett was still in a sorry state. Wei Chang was too strong. Furthermore, he couldn't use his strongest weapon, so he was completely suppressed. However, he had no choice but to stall for time. Delay a little more. When Absolute Heaven saw the increasing number of wounds on Brett's body, he felt his heart ache. This damnable Wei Chang. He really wanted to kill the two of them. Suddenly, Wei Chang stopped his attacks. He looked at Brett, who was in the air. Brett was in a sorry state. His hair was disheveled, and blood was flowing from the corner of his mouth. He had lost his previous imposing manner. Although this victory is a little unfair, who asked Absolute Heaven to lose his strength? Moreover, I just so happened to be able to restrain you. If Yi Zizi or that dog were here, we might be able to fight for a while longer, Wei Chang said with a faint smile. Brett panted heavily and raised his head slightly to look at Wei Chang. I didn't expect you to be so strong now. If I don't force myself, I'm afraid I won't even know how powerful I am, Wei Chang said calmly as the terrifying black beam of light condensed once more. Brett suddenly let out a charming laugh. Why did Absolute Heaven feel that Brett had gone mad? What are you laughing at? Wei Chang, do you really think you've become smarter? You're still as stupid as before. Brett shouted coldly as he quickly formed a seal with both hands. Under Wei Chang's feet, the 5 symbols formation that had disappeared earlier shone once again. Wei Chang's expression froze as he glared at Brett. Wei Chang, if his honor is here, do you think you can still be this arrogant? 5 symbols destroy the heavens. Brett. Wei Chang roared, and his entire body was engulfed by the white radiance that was emitted out by the formation. The white radiance soared into the sky and instantly broke through the black barrier. Brett sent a distress signal to his honor. And after that, Brett was no longer able to hold on and fainted. The 5 symbols destroy the heavens just now was condensed by Brett. Due to Wei Chang's strength, Brett had condensed all of his strength into the formation, all for the sake of breaking through the black barrier and sending out a distress signal. However, within the white radiance, a black figure could be seen walking out slowly. Bloodstains had already appeared on Wei Chang's body, and Wei Chang was still bleeding. This move of Brett's caused Wei Chang to suffer a loss, but Wei Chang won because of his natal weapon. Brett, you have truly made me have a whole new level of respect for you. Absolute heaven blocked in front of Brett. Wei Chang, if you dare to touch a single hair on her today, I swear, I won't kill you in this lifetime. I swear I won't let this matter rest. The black radiance condensed once again, and Wei Chang said faintly, Absolute heaven, everyone will die, it is only a matter of time. Right after Wei Chang finished speaking, the terrifying black radiance that brought along an astonishing power struck towards absolute heaven and Brett. The two who were completely defenseless could only wait for death. Divine light shield. Boom. A golden wall directly landed in front of absolute heaven, and the hundreds of black radiance ruthlessly collided onto the wall. Creak, creak. Cracks immediately appeared on the golden divine light shield. With a bang, the golden divine light shield shattered and turned into dust. Yi Hua slowly descended to the ground and stood in front of Wei Chang, then said faintly, As my subordinate, you will not die in this lifetime. Looking at his honor who was in front of him, absolute heaven rolled his eyes and directly fell onto Brett's body. Subordinate pays respect to his honor. Wei Chang said with a slight smile. However, this time, Wei Chang only said it with his mouth and did not do anything. Looking at the unfamiliar Wei Chang in front of him, Yi Hua's expression became very gloomy. Even when he heard the distress signal that Brett sent over, he still found it hard to believe. However, right now he believed it. Put away your hypocrisy, Yi Hua said coldly. All right. Wei Chang laughed lightly, then transformed back into his human form. Your honor, don't you have anything you want to ask subordinate? Wei Chang asked curiously, and his tone carried a hint of ridicule. Yi Hua said faintly, To me, Wei Chang is already dead. Your honor, if you say it like that, subordinate will feel very sad. Wei Chang held on to his chest and said with a comical look on his face. Yi Hua took a deep breath. Although I really don't want to accept this fact, I have no choice but to accept it right now. This bastard has already betrayed me. Since your honor has come to save them, subordinate will not continue anymore. I am looking forward to meeting with your honor again. At that time, subordinate will not be lenient anymore. Wei Chang revealed a smile, then disappeared from the spot. A breeze blew past, and Yi Hua took out a stick of cigarette and lit it up. Soon after, Yi Hua left the scene with Brett and Zhu Tian. Brett's injuries seemed to be very serious, but in actuality, they were all external injuries. Just like Zhu Tian, Brett had overexerted himself. Yi Hua stood at the side and looked at Zhu Tian and Brett. Zhu Tian was the first to wake up, and he was still in his original form. Looking at his honor who was beside him, Zhu Tian hurriedly asked, Your honor, where is Wei Chang? End of this chapter. Chapter 1182. He ran away. Yi Hua said faintly, and his tone was filled with helplessness. For the people of the 7 deadly sins, it was very easy for them to run away. What? Why did his honor let him escape? Zhu Tian was confused. Yi Hua let out a long sigh. Count it as my grace towards him for serving him for 1,000 years. The next time we meet, I won't be lenient towards him anymore. Zhu Tian did not say anything. Aside from today's matter, Wei Chang's loyalty was still brimming. What his honor did was also within reason, and his honor didn't have any complaints. The two of you rest well. Let's put Wei Chang's matter aside for now. He still doesn't dare to make a move in front of me. Yi Hua said lightly. Although there was no change in his expression, in actuality, he was still very shocked in his heart. Wei Chang really rebelled. This honest Wei Chang had betrayed the team, betrayed everyone. Absolute heaven squatted on his bed. He too found what had just happened unbelievable. However, the truth was right before his eyes, and he had no choice but to believe it. Brett was beaten to such a state by Wei Chang. That's right, that you of yours is going to go and cultivate. You can do as you see fit. Yi Hua said faintly. The fact that Wei Chang had betrayed Yi Hua was already a fact, so it was useless for Yi Hua to be worried about Wei Chang. You is going to cultivate? Where are we going to cultivate? Absolute heaven asked curiously. Tang Wei Li Hun. The green and red brothers all went to that great desolate plain. Of course, this sovereign's little brother is also there. What? Aren't they courting death by going to that kind of place? Absolute heaven was dumbfounded. To him he could do whatever he wanted. However, to them, it was completely impossible. Yi Hua let out a light sigh. If they want to become stronger, and I am unable to stop them, I will just let them be. Should we tell Tang Wei about Wei Chang? Absolute heaven asked. Let's hide it for now. After finished speaking, Yi Hua disappeared from where he was. I feel a bit tired. Zhu Tian looked at Brett who was beside him, and hurriedly went to look for Dongfang Yuer. This woman, she couldn't figure it out. After recovering some of his stamina, Absolute Heaven quickly found Dongfang Yuan. Absolute Heaven, didn't you go look for Uncle Wei? Why did you come back? Dongfang Yuan asked doubtfully. I heard from His Honor that you are going to cultivate? Absolute Heaven directly asked. With your weak and delicate appearance, you actually dared to go to that kind of place? Who gave you the courage to do so? Dongfang Yuer gently bit her lips, lowered her head and did not speak. Do you not want to stay by my side anymore? Absolute Heaven asked in a deep voice. No, I didn't. Absolute Heaven, don't misunderstand. Dongfang Yuer hurriedly explained. Then why? Isn't it good to live here? Why take the risk? Dongfang Yuan said in a low voice. I want to make you proud, I don't want to be a useless vase. Hearing Dongfang Yuan's words, Absolute Heaven was slightly taken aback. He never thought that Dongfang Yuan would have such thoughts. I hope that you can live a good life. You don't have to go to that kind of place to take risks. That kind of place is not something a girl like you can stay in. Don't look down on me. I can do it. Dongfang Yuer said softly. Even if her words were clearly domineering, she could make them sound soft, without any aggressiveness at all. Listen to your accent. Can you even fight? It's not intimidating at all. I want to go. Dongfang Yuan was sometimes very stubborn. When a woman became stubborn, it was still very scary. I forbid it. I want to go. Although Dongfang Yuan's tone was soft and gentle, her eyes were filled with determination. Even Absolute Heaven could feel it. If that's the case, I will lock you up. Then you better lock me up for life. You were very obedient to me in the past. Why aren't you listening to me this time? Absolute Heaven questioned. Just who was it that led my Dongfang Yuan astray? Dongfang Yuan said in a low voice. Absolute Heaven, I will listen to you. But this time, I definitely want to go. I have already made up my mind. I don't want you to suffer so much. I can only look at you and am unable to help you. Absolute Heaven looked at Dongfang Yuan quietly, then turned around and left. Absolute Heaven seemed to be very angry. Looking at Absolute Heaven leaving, Dongfang Yuan was a bit sad. Yi Hua returned to his bedroom. Donghuang Baiji, who had just finished cooking, came over. Yi Hua, it's time to eat. I don't have any appetite. You eat. Yi Hua pondered while supporting his forehead. No matter how big the matter is, you should think about it after eating. Be obedient and listen to me. Donghuang Baiji pulled Yi Hua to the dining table and placed the chopsticks on the table. Yi Hua let out a deep sigh. You are still young, you shouldn't sigh so often. I made your favorite crayfish. The taste is definitely authentic. Let me peel the crayfish for you. While speaking, Donghuang Baiji began peeling the crayfish for Yi Hua. Where else can I find a wife like this? Wei Chang really betrayed me, Yi Hua said in a low voice, then took out a stick of cigarette and lit it up. Donghuang Baiji's hands stopped moving, then looked at Yi Hua with an astonished expression. Is it verified? Yi Hua nodded his head. I saw it with my own eyes. The crayfish that Donghuang Baiji was holding in her hand fell onto the ground. He really betrayed me. The honest Wei Chang actually betrayed Yi Hua. Donghuang Baiji could believe that anyone would betray Yi Hua, but Wei Chang was the only one she didn't think about. After all, in the past, Yi Hua would always look for Wei Chang whenever he was free, and Wei Chang was very loyal to Yi Hua. But now Wei Chang betrayed me just like that. This is too strange. There must be a reason behind this. Yihua seemed to know what Donghuang Baiji was thinking about. There is no need to explain for Wei Chang anymore. That fellow said that he will not be lenient towards me next time. Yihua, although you have already said it, I still can't accept it. That's right. How can I accept it so quickly as well? The dishes on the table didn't move. Yihua was silently smoking his cigarette, and Donghuang Baiji was thinking of a way to help Yihua. Right now, Wei Chang was standing in a small forest, and in the middle of the forest, there was a bonfire that was emitting out sizzling sounds. As expected of one of the 7 deadly sins, Wei Chang, you have really broadened my horizons. Right at this moment, a man suddenly appeared and laughed loudly. On his forehead, there was a mark that resembled a W, which looked very strange. Afterward, another man appeared, and on his forehead, there was also a similar strange mark. And on Wei Chang's forehead, there was also a mark. Just that, the mark was covered by Wei Chang's hair. I really didn't expect that gluttony, who is one of the 7 deadly sins, would be able to defeat wrath so easily. I reckon that he even has the strength to fight against a supreme overlord. The man at the side said in disdain, Supreme Overlord is nothing. Supreme Overlord is indeed nothing, but in front of that Supreme Overlord, you are nothing. Tisk. The man could only use this method to express his disdain. Wei Chang smiled and said, The two of you be quiet, don't disturb me when I am looking at the fire. Wei Chang, do you know that you are a newbie right now? Do you know what a newbie is? You are going to serve tea to an old man. Quickly go and pour a cup of tea for me. I am dying of thirst. A trace of an evil smile appeared on the corner of Wei Chang's mouth. Then he opened his huge mouth and instantly swallowed the tea. End of this chapter. Chapter 1183. The other man swallowed his saliva and sweat appeared on his forehead. Go get me a glass of water. Wei Chang chuckled, but in the eyes of the man, it was a devilish smile. Yes. The man did not dare to disobey and quickly went to fetch water. Soon, the man came back with spring water. Wei Chang took a sip. It's quite sweet. Yes, yes. The man said respectfully. This Wei Chang is a bit more cruel than I thought. One of the 7 deadly sins, Wei Chang, your reputation is not as good as meeting you in person. Not far away from Wei Chang, a black vortex appeared, and a man and a woman walked out from it. The man walked in front while the woman walked behind. The man's hairstyle was a little weird. One side of his head was bald, while the other side had long hair. There was a golden thorn dangling from his earlobe. Her face was a little dark. In Wei Chang's eyes, this might be smoky makeup. The woman at the back was beautiful and gave off a cold aura. Her snake-like waist was exposed, and she wore a breastplate and leather pants. She also carried 2 swords on her back. However, both of them had a W mark on their foreheads. Are you the contact? Wei Chang asked with a smile. Now, Wei Chang could even smile often, which was quite good. Yes, my name is Falling Dust, and the one behind me is Drunken Cry. We are both from the imperishable shrine. On behalf of the shrine master, I welcome you to join us. Falling Dust bowed slightly in welcome. Wei Chang took another sip of the clear spring water and said softly, It seems that this operation is aimed at me. Falling Dust laughed softly and said, Wei Chang, don't misunderstand Hall Master's meaning. He just wants to help you find the path you should take. This path is truly interesting. I am now very interested in this Hall Master, said Wei Chang with a smile. Impudent. Drunken Cry roared. Falling Dust's face fell, and he gave a backhand slap. You're the insolent one. How dare you shout at gluttony, one of the 7 deadly sins. Yutong. Drunken Ming covered his face in disbelief. Humph. If it weren't for Wei Chang's good mood today, you would have become food in his stomach. Just like that idiot just now. Falling Dust shouted coldly. Drunken Cry didn't say anything else. He stood there obediently, but his eyes were filled with unwillingness. Luo-Chen, forget it, forget it. Little girl, don't scold me so badly. Wei Chang laughed. That slap just now was really ruthless. Falling Dust bowed slightly and said with a smile, Wei Chang, this subordinate was insensible, please forgive me. Who's going to argue with a child? Wei Chang is right, Drunken Cry. Pay more attention in the future. Yes, Yutong. Wei Chong gently waved his hand and extinguished the fire. Shall we go? Wei Chong, please. Wei Chong walked into the whirlpool with steady steps, and then disappeared. Let's deal with it. Don't leave any evidence behind. Falling Dust muttered before walking into the black vortex. Yes. Drunken Cry said respectfully. Drunken Cry looked at the remaining man, and the latter slowly retreated. Leader, you ordered us to lure you here. You can't kill me. This is a quest with certain death, regardless of whether I complete it or not. Drunken Cry drew his sword, then quickly sheathed it. The entire movement was done in one go, without any delay. Drunken Cry confidently turned around and walked into the whirlpool. The entire black whirlpool disappeared as well. However, the man's body froze on the spot, falling off piece by piece. The entire scene made everyone gasp in amazement. Too strong. The man that turned into pieces turned into blood water and merged into the ground, as if he had never appeared in the first place. Other than the smoke coming out from the bonfire, it was hard to prove that someone had been here just now. As for where Wei Chong went, no one knew. However, what was certain was that he was definitely not in the Kangluo continent. From Drunken Cry's attitude, it could be seen that he did not want to leave any evidence behind and kill his own people to silence them. Savagery Index, 5 stars. Bright Mist Communal Country, the largest city in the entire south, and within it was the entire Shin Academy. At the same time, it was also a place that everyone yearned for. After all, being able to enter the Shin Academy was equivalent to bringing glory to one's ancestors. The weather in the south was very pleasant. At least that was what Yi Zizi and Kai Yun felt. The two little fellows had just walked into Bright Mist Communal Country, and you asked them what they did before? Yi Zizi would definitely pretend to say that they went to scout out the surrounding environment and set up an escape route. This Bright Mist Communal Country seems to be even bigger than our Wushu Empire. Kai Yun looked at the city walls that stretched as far as the eye could see and muttered. Yi Zizi said while bouncing about, "That's right, this Bright Mist Communal Country is the largest city in the Kangluo continent. It's just that the streets here are a bit crowded, and the population here is bursting." The two sovereigns seem to be studying inside. When are we going to go and take a look? Of course we have to go and take a look. However, it is still better for us to go and do our proper business first, and find Envy. Yi Zizi knew that his honor was very anxious right now. Kai Yun conveniently took a candied haw and licked it. We don't even have any clues. How are we going to find Envy? I have an idea. Yi Zizi said confidently. What idea? You follow me. Yi Zizi pulled Kai Yun into a small alley, then took out a drawing book and a colored pen from her storage ring. What are you doing? Kai Yun asked blankly. Drawing. Why are you drawing? To find someone. But are you drawing a person? I feel that it does look like a person. Yi Zizi placed the drawing book in front of Kai Yun. Kai Yun held onto his forehead. You're a pig. That's right, Envy is a pig, and it's the ugliest pig. I can recognize it with a single look. Pfft. Kai Yun was stupefied. I had thought that we were a good-looking team, but I heard that Ching Su is a big fatty, and this Envy is also a pig. I don't believe in that good-looking team anymore. Actually, Ching Su is handsome when he becomes thinner. Who isn't handsome when he becomes thinner? Kai Yun rolled his eyes at Yi Zizi. Yi Zizi held on to her own drawing. It's not without reason that he is called Envy. This fellow is jealous of all men in the world, and even his honor is jealous of him. He swore that he will become his honor's appearance, drive a big G car, and go to harm big sisters, and become a scumbag. The problem is, no matter how much this pig transforms, he won't be able to look like a human. Kai Yun had a look of disbelief on his face. Yi Zizi wagged her index finger. Then you are wrong. You can treat this Envy as a human-shaped pig. He walks with his 2 legs, and of course he can also switch to 4-wheel drive mode. Wow, he can switch between 2-wheel drive mode and 4-wheel drive mode at any time. He's so crafty. Of course, have you ever seen a pig that wears clothes? He can even wear a hat and chase after big sisters all day, but he has never succeeded before. Kai Yun had a stupefied look on his face. I don't believe that there is a second Mu Ran in this world. I feel the same way too. That subordinate of yours sure has luck with women. I feel the same way too. End of this chapter. Chapter 1184. Kai Yun sighed lightly. But it is unrealistic for you to go and look for someone with this kind of portrait. If Envy really switched to a two-wheel mode, she would definitely be killed by the people here. That makes sense. Let's go and look for her at the pig-rearing area. Yi Zizi said seriously. Kai Yin. My God, how can one of the 7 deadly sins, envy, live together with a group of pigs? Kai Yin held onto his forehead. He had a new understanding of Yi Zizi's mind. Luckily I brought you out this time. The last place His Honor found Envy's aura was here, and then it disappeared. So it might not be here, it might have already disappeared, so what? Let's go and look for Little Honor to play. Kai Yin, just a moment ago, we were still talking about completing His Honor's mission, and now, we are going to look for Little Honor. But looking for Little Honor is still more fun than looking for a pig. The 2 children directly walked towards Shen Academy. At the periphery of Minglan Communal Country, there were all residential areas, and there was also the Emperor area. But at the center was Shen Academy, which was divided into the outer courtyard and the inner courtyard. Yi Yan and Yi Lu were now inner academy students, extremely well known in Deity Institution. Their titles of child prodigies already not a problem. But Yi Yan and Yi Lu encountered a problem. The dean went missing. The 2 little fellows sat on a bench in the academy. Little sister, I feel that the dean has played himself too much. Yi Yan said helplessly with a blade of grass in his mouth. Although it had only been half a year, Yi Lu's appearance had already started to change, becoming more beautiful. Yi Lu threw away the blade of grass in her brother's mouth. Brother, how many times have I told you, it is very dirty. Haha, my little sister is still the best, caring for me so much. Yi Yan held onto Yi Lu's shoulder and laughed. Yi Lu immediately rolled her eyes. When father and mother left, they even said to let big brother take care of me, but in the end, it was me who took care of you. The students that passed by were already used to it. The relationship between this pair of brother and sister was very good. This was also what Yihua hoped to see. Biological siblings should be like this. If they were left at home, the estrangement would only get deeper and deeper. Brother, I feel that father asked us to come over. On one hand, it was to let us study. On the other hand, it might be related to the dean. Yi Yan nodded his head. That's right, now that the dean has gone missing, what should we do? Do I have to continue studying? If I continue to study, there are still more than 10 years left. It's a bit hard. Yi Yan exhaled deeply. He couldn't find anything to play with even if he wanted to. A few days ago, Uncle Wei's aura was so terrifying. I wonder what happened. Yi Lu said worriedly. Yi Yan's face was at ease. Uncle Wei must be teaching the bad guys a lesson. But it caused a huge commotion. This has never happened before. Maybe he met a powerful person. Don't worry, Uncle Wei is terrifying. He can deal with the enemy in minutes. I really want to go home and see everyone. Yi Lu murmured, his eyes filled with longing. I've already been out for half a year. I miss my mother. I miss my father. Sister, don't panic. Unless Dad comes and allows us to go back, we can go back. Mom can't make the decision. Yi Yan seemed to have recognized the truth, and looked like he had accepted his fate. However, right at this moment, a student ran over respectfully. Senior Sister Yi, someone is looking for you in the living room. Although Yi Yan and Yi Lu were only children, they had already made a name for themselves in the inner courtyard. They had even caught the dean's eye. Everyone had to obediently call them senior brothers and sisters. Joy appeared in Yi Yan's eyes. Could it be? Yi Lu immediately ran out. Sister, wait for Big Brother. Big Brother is old. His legs aren't as nimble anymore. Following Yi Yan's words, the surrounding junior sisters all covered their mouths and laughed lightly. He is obviously a little guy, but he is still pretending to be an old man. Yi Yan blew kisses towards these little sisters. He was very flirting with them. If Yi Hua were to see his son acting like this, he would definitely smack his son's butt. Flirting with girls at such a young age. What will happen when he grows up? The siblings quickly arrived at the living room. and two small figures appeared in front of them. Aunt Yi, Aunt Kai. Yi Lu cried out in surprise. Yi Zizi and Kai Yun's mouth twitched, then took a look at each other. Their gazes seemed to be saying, "Are we that old? You two little fellows, even if you grow up in the future, we will still look like this. Calling us aunties since young is rude. Do you want big sister to know? They are even taller than us." Yi Yan shouted out joyfully, "Aunt Zizi, Aunt Kai Yun, why did you two come? Did Dad ask you two to come and bring us home?" "And no," Yi Zizi said with a slight smile. "No matter what, I have watched them grow up." Hearing that, Yi Yan and Yi Lu immediately revealed a disappointed expression. Kai Yun rubbed onto the two little fellows' heads. "This time, we came over with your father's orders." "Wow, Aunt Zizi, Aunt Kai Yun, what mission do you two have? Can you tell Yenner about it?" Yi Zizi and Kai Yun took a look at each other. Yi Yan immediately pounced into Yi Zizi's embrace. "Aunt Zizi, I beg of you, can you tell us about it?" In this world, probably only Yi Yan would do such a terrifying thing. Because children like Dong Huangli, God Yi, and Yi Lu wouldn't act like a spoiled child. Yi Yan had been hanging around Dong Huangli since young, and he often acted like this. Yi Zizi couldn't do anything about it. She said softly, "Your father asked us to find someone." "Find someone? Who should I look for? I am very good at finding people." Yi Yan just wanted to go out and play. He was bored to death staying in the academy. Yi Lu was the same. Her gaze was filled with curiosity. "One of your father's subordinates," Kai Yun said with a smile. Yi Yan and Yi Lu's mouth turned into an O shape. "Of course, they have heard of my father's subordinates. There are still two that are currently missing, and I didn't expect that my father would start looking for them." "I want to go too," Yi Yan immediately said. Although Yi Lu didn't say anything, she also looked like she wanted to go. Yi Zizi wanted to play with Yi Yan too. Kai Yun wanted to go too, the more the merrier. Seeing that Yi Zizi was puzzled, Yi Yan hurriedly said, "Aunt Zizi, after we find the person, we will come back, okay? No one will know. My father will definitely not find out." "Will the two of you complain?" Yi Zizi squinted her eyes and said, "This Yi Lu is reliable. As for Yi Yan, he is as bad as Ali. I promise I will listen to the two aunties." Yi Yan patted on his chest and guaranteed. As a man, not even Tin Kuan would be able to catch up to his words. "Go and apply for leave then," Yi Yan said helplessly. "Aunt Zizi, our dean has gone missing. There is no one to care about us anymore." However, Yi Yan didn't know that it was Aunt Kai Yun who smashed the dean into pieces with a punch. "Gone missing, so pitiful." Kai Yun nodded his head. "Indeed pitiful." End of this chapter. Chapter 1185. Then, Yi Zizi's eyebrows twitched. Yi Yan instantly understood. He looked at his sister with a look that said, "Are you leaving or not?" Yi Lu used to be a very honest child, but she had been influenced by her brother recently. Actually, it was mainly because school was too boring, and he wanted to go out and play. "Let's go," Yi Zizi shouted. "It's time to go out and play. It's been a long time since I brought Yan along to act cool." "Oh yeah, little sister, keep up." Yi Yan immediately ran to the front, like a child who was set free. Yi Zizi and Kai Yun looked like little kids. They really didn't look like their aunties. When he was at the door, he was stopped. Fortunately, Yi Yan and Yi Lu were famous. Yi Yan directly said, "The dean is missing. We must find him. It's my duty." Actually, everyone knew that Yi Yan and Yi Lu were about to be taken in as disciples by the dean, and now they all had to call him eldest senior brother. If this big senior brother wanted to go out, who could stop him? Yi Yan didn't expect it to be so easy. If he had known, he would have definitely sneaked out to play. "I feel like I'm in a prison. Today I'm finally free." "Oh yeah," Yi Yan bounced around and looked around. There were a lot of snacks, but the taste wasn't that great. They didn't even add any seasonings. They didn't even add cumin powder. Good chicken tastes bad. "Sister, this tong hulu is not bad. Lick it." "No licking. It's fine if you don't want to lick it." "I'll lick it. It's so sweet," Yi Yan said happily. He licked it together with Yi Zizi and Kai Yun. However, Yi Lu walked beside him like an adult. Auntie Zizi, do you have any clues? The four of them ate, drank, and had fun in the city. Yi Yan finally got to the point, but Yi Lu had already lost interest. It was better to go to the academy and cultivate. It was even more boring outside. Yi Zizi drank the cold black tea and said with a comfortable expression, "No. Then how are we going to find them?" Yi Lu asked blankly. Auntie Zizi was still the same as before. She wasn't that reliable. Kaiyan put his palms together. Buddha-style searching. Auntie Kaiyan is so awesome. We're going to have some fun. Yi Yan liked Kaiyan's attitude towards life. She did whatever she wanted to do and was not in a hurry at all. Unlike his own sister, who looked like she was in a hurry right now. Kaiyan stroked Yi Yan's head. "We'll just play happily." "Auntie Kaiyan is right," Yi Yan said with a chuckle. However, right at this moment, a series of hurried footsteps came over and surrounded the four of them. The four children stared blankly at these servants. They were dressed in gray robes and held long rods in their hands. They looked fierce and fiendish. At a glance, they could tell that they were servants who relied on their master's power. Excuse me, young Master Ding." A man dressed in luxurious clothing slowly walked over. "Wow, that is the richest man in our bright mist communal country. Ding Jun. Child Ding." "That's right. Just look at the way he walks. You can tell that he has a mine at home. Child Ding is still very generous, okay?" Indeed. The surrounding people discussed in low voices. The lackey standing beside Ding Jun shouted, "Today, young Master Ding will pay for the whole street." When this news was announced, the entire audience was in an uproar. Everyone cheered young Master Ding for being generous. When Ding Jun heard these cheers, he instantly felt as if he was floating. However, looking at those little guys in front of him, Ding Jun revealed out an evil smile. These little kids look really good. Especially that ponytail girl, she is simply so adorable. And that ice-cold girl. She will definitely become a goddess-like figure in the future. And that slightly older girl at the side, she is so innocent and romantic. As for the boy at the side, forget about it. I will beat him up and throw him out of the city later on. Who knows, he might be killed by a different race. The surrounding people seemed to have received hush money and began to act as if they didn't see anything. "Yo, which family's young master is this?" Yi Yan stood out confidently. The flute on his waist was very conspicuous, as expected of a boy who knows how to play the flute. It is able to blow people to death. Ding Jun touched his hair and said with an insolent look, "Those who give me face all call me young Master Ding. What a coincidence, most people call me Big Brother Yi." Although Yi Yan is small, that insolent aura of his is not familiar at all. How can this kind of small figure be dealt with by Aunt Zizi and Aunt Kaiyun? "Haha, just you little guy? Ah. Too." Ding Jun held a mouthful of phlegm and smeared it on the ground. The yellow phlegm is so disgusting. At the very least, Yi Zizi and the others were disgusted, wishing that they could just kick this man to death. "You are truly too disgusting. I don't even want to talk to you anymore." Yi Yan frowned. "I can tolerate anyone, but I can't tolerate people who are disgusting. Little sister, come and take care of this, big brother. I really can't stand this thick phlegm." Yi Lu immediately kicked him. "You can't stand it. Do you think I can? And you still call yourself big brother? When I go back this time, just watch how I complain to mother. Once you don't even take care of your little sister, everyone else will be a crazy protector of their little sister. And you will be the crazy protector of your little sister. Little brat. In this entire bright mist communal country, other than the deity institution which isn't mine, everything else is mine. Do you understand? What a coincidence. I'm a student of the deity institution. Do you know Sovereign Taiha? He's prepared to take me as his disciple, and I am currently considering whether or not I should accept him." Yi Yan stood with his hands behind his back, looking like he was soaked in sweat. "Be more serious." Yi Lu really couldn't take it anymore. "Can't you give your opponent some respect?" Yi Yan knew what his little sister meant. He took out his flute and prepared to blow it. Meanwhile, Yi Lu covered her ears. When Ding Jun heard this, why did it sound so unpleasant to hear? "You, Supreme Taiho will take in a child like you? Little fellow, you need strength to act cool too. Yi Yan and Yi Lu's news did spread in the deity institution, but outside very few people knew about it. It was reasonable that Ding Jun didn't know them. When I, your big brother Yi, acted cool, you were still a mollusk. Everyone was confused. What was a mollusk? Even Yi Lu was confused. However, Yi Zizi and Kai Yan's faces sunk. As expected, Yi Yan became bad. He became an old driver. Although Ding Jun didn't know what Yi Yan was cursing about, looking at Yi Yan's appearance, he definitely didn't have good intentions. Little fellow, you are courting death. If I, young Master Ding, kill people here, even the deity institution won't dare to interfere. Young Master Ding, I advise you to look behind you before saying anything. Yi Yan smiled faintly. Ding Jun went into a daze. When he turned around, there was nothing at all. There was only a chill in his crotch. Big brother, what are you doing? Yi Lu protested coquettishly. She hurriedly turned around. Yi Zizi and Kai Yan didn't avoid it because they weren't human at all. End of this chapter. Chapter 1186. Little Pigeon. Yi Yan couldn't help but tease. Even smaller than my brother Yes. Ding Jun flew into a rage out of humiliation, pointing at Yi Yan and shouting, "Kill him for me. Kill." The servants around him roared and cheered for themselves. However, at this moment, a few words floated down from the sky. Cut the water with a knife and the water will flow even more. Drink a cup to drown your worries even more. A figure landed in front of Yi Yan. He was skinny and wore a black bamboo hat. His entire face was covered by a black veil. However, judging from his physique, he should be a handsome guy. This man's voice was really pleasant to listen to. Coupled with that faint sadness, it could simply enchant young girls. This was a man who could recite poems. He was too attractive. That back view was really mesmerizing. Who are you? Ding Jun asked angrily. Famous people don't resort to insinuations. I'm a pig's liver. Yi Yan's little face was embarrassed after hearing this. What an outstanding man. My brother Yi likes men like you. Poser. Pig's liver. If you know what's good for you, then scram. Do you know where this is? This is me. Can you put on your pants first before saying such harsh words? The surrounding girls don't like to look at you. The pig liver centipede sighed softly. This was basically saying, this guy can't do it, I'll do it. Only then did Ding Jun realize that he was in a neutral position. He immediately pulled up his pants. Kill them. Wait. The pig liver centipede stretched out its palm and shouted. What are you doing? Tearful eyes look at flowers. Flowers don't speak. Red flies over the swing. Ding Jun was speechless. Yi Yan, everyone. Motherf asterisk cur. Just because they don't get along, they start spewing out poems. Kill him. I've never seen anyone so arrogant. Do it. Wait. The pig liver centipede shouted angrily, shocking everyone. Ding Jun was on the verge of despair. What the hell do you want? Zizai Fei. Ding Jun couldn't take it anymore when he saw that pig liver hyena was about to burst out with poems again. Not only Ding Jun could not take it anymore. Even Yi Yan could not take it anymore. Him blowing his flute alone was enough to make people feel despair. Who would have thought that this pig liver's recitation of a poem could make people go crazy? He had finally learned something today. Kill him. Kill him. Kill him. The surrounding crowd cheered together. All of the servants could be seen running towards the pig liver meat. And then, we're all brothers, so don't be too harsh. After saying that, pig liver Ding Long squatted down with his hands on his head. Bang bang bang. The scene was very messy. At the very least, Yi Yan and Yi Lu were very confused. Wasn't this guy here to save the damsel in distress? Why was it so miserable? He had thought that it was a king, but to his surprise, it was a bronze. The time taken to brew a cup of tea passed. The servants were already gasping for breath and stood away. The moon shines brightly in front of my bed, and I suspect it to be frost on the ground. Beat him to death for me. Beat him until he can't speak. Fight. Ding Jun was completely confused. If he could, he really wanted to cut his head open. Another 10 minutes passed. Geese geese geese, crooked neck towards the heavens song. PFFF. Before he could finish shouting, he was punched. Young Master Ding, this brat is a little troublesome. We can't even beat him to death. One of the servants' hands were trembling, and the skin on his fists was broken. Ding Jun didn't know what to say now. Was this pig's liver unkillable? He actually stood up again. Right now, Pig Liver Dinglong seemed to be so great. That majestic back view seemed to be blossoming with golden light. You are ruthless, brat. Ding Jun was convinced. I have never seen such a lowly person before. Ding Jun brought his people and left just like that. The speed at which he ran was very fast, as if he had seen a ghost. Pig Liver Dinglong coughed lightly and slowly turned around. At this moment, the world seemed to have become quiet. Quietly, I'm coming quietly. I'm leaving again. Pig Liver Dinglong broke into a run. Yi Zizi shouted coldly. Pig Liver Dinglong. Don't think that just because you became skinny, I won't recognize you. This voice of yours, even if you turn into ashes, I will still recognize you. Yi Zizi immediately disappeared from where she was, and Kaiyun did the same as well. Yi Yen and Yi Lu hurriedly blocked the way, and Pig Liver Dinglong was surrounded by the four people. I say, I, Pig Liver Dinglong, at the very least saved your lives. Is this how you repay me? Pig Liver Dinglong said helplessly. Seeing that there were a lot of people around, Kaiyun hurriedly formed a hand seal, and the few people all disappeared a few kilometers away from the city. Pig's liver meat. Yi Zizi shouted again. Aunt Zizi, who is this? Yi Yen asked curiously. Yi Lu seemed to have guessed it. She looked at Auntie Kaiyun and guessed it too. Kaiyun asked curiously. Zizi, who is this? Yi Lu. It seemed like he had still overestimated Auntie Kaiyun. Yi Zizi said in a low voice. This is the famous envy. Yi Yan's and Kaiyun's little mouths had turned into an O shape. The pig liver worm sighed deeply. Yi Zizi, I'm already in this state, yet you still recognize me. Hee hee with your accent. Do you think I can't recognize you? Yi Zizi snorted coldly. The pig liver macaque took off its bamboo hat and finally revealed its face. Other than Yi Zizi, everyone else had a long face. This was truly a pig's head. Yi Yan was very puzzled. Why was it that his father's subordinates were all humans, but he was a pig? The pig liver mantis might be an exception, but this was its true form. It could switch between 2-drive mode or 4-drive mode at any time. However, just now when the pig liver mantis was being beaten up by the group, it wasn't that it didn't want to fight back, but rather it didn't move. This was also one of the pig liver mantis weaknesses. Because the pig liver mantis was the kind of person that would become stronger when encountering strong opponents. No, it should be said that once jealousy was born in its heart, it would erupt. The deeper the jealousy, the stronger the eruption of jealousy. However, when the pig liver mantis lost its jealousy, other than being unkillable, it didn't have the slightest bit of attack power, and it was no different from an ordinary pig. If one were to say who was the most abnormal person in the entire team, other than Ching Su, then it would be the pig liver mantis. When it got jealous, it wouldn't even know what its surname was. Pig liver mantis, your memory seems to be normal. Yi Zizi asked curiously. Of course my memory is very good. Then why didn't you come back? I don't believe that you couldn't sense it. Yi Zizi questioned. The pig liver mantis straightforwardly sat on the ground. Big sister, I still want to play for a bit more. It isn't easy for me to be able to take a stroll outside, and I don't have to listen to his honor's words. How happy I am. What you said is somewhat reasonable. Yi Zizi and Kaiyun nodded their heads, expressing that they agreed. Yi Zizi continued to ask, something isn't right. Why did you conceal your aura? Fuck, that fellow Wei Chong was fighting with earth-shattering power. He definitely encountered some trouble. I thought that his honor would definitely come and look for me, so I concealed my aura. Even if I came, it would be useless. Isn't it enough for you two to be by his honor's side? The pig liver mantis rubbed onto its pig nose and mumbled. End of this chapter. Chapter 1187. Yi Zizi didn't want to talk nonsense with Yi Zizi anymore. His honor is summoning you now. That fellow Ching Su is already in a mess, and Wei Chong has also gone missing. What? The pig liver centipede's face sank as it cried out in alarm. You said Wei Chang is missing? The one who disappeared that day? How is that possible? The pig liver centipede knew Wei Chang's strength. How could he just disappear like that? Yi Zizi said solemnly. It's not just missing. It was very likely that he had already betrayed them. Doesn't his honor know about your personality? That's why he sent me to look for you. The pig liver hyena stood up and gazed at Yi Zizi. Smoke rises in the great desert. The sun sets in the long river. Speak human language. Yi Zizi clenched her small fist and said in a deep voice. Pig liver Meng Meng swallowed his saliva and said, If his honor needs this subordinate, I will not hesitate to die 10,000 times. If I don't enter hell, who will? I have already decided to sacrifice myself for his honor. Do you want to play for a few more days before going back? Pig liver nomaded. Everyone. At this time Yi Lu asked seriously, Aunt Zizi, what happened to Uncle Wei? I also felt Uncle Wei's aura that day. Did Uncle Wei go missing? Why did you say that Uncle Wei betrayed us? Yi Lu raised his question. Yi Yan also put away his smile, appearing incomparably serious. Uncle Wei had gone missing and rebelled? How was this possible? How could Uncle Wei be such a person? Uncle Wei's loyalty to his father could be seen by the sun and moon. He would never do such a thing. Yi Zizi stroked Yi Lu's hair. Lu or study hard with Yan. We'll take care of the family. Don't worry. Yi Zizi had forgotten that they were present. These little fellows often played with Wei Chang when they were young. Their relationship with Wei Chang was also quite deep. Who are these two kids? The pig liver macaque asked curiously. They are little sovereigns. Kai Yin added. He had originally thought that Envy would give his all in a battle of life and death, but in the end, in just a day's time, this fellow had appeared on his own. Kai Yin suddenly recalled that this pig liver centipede had probably done it on purpose. Given Yi Zizi's appearance, how could the pig liver macaque not recognize her? She probably wanted to save face, so she used such a method to appear. Kai Yun's guess was correct. Pig liver stew was like this. What? His honor's child. Isn't his honor a skeleton? Does it shoot the bone marrow? The pig liver macaque was astonished. I completely don't understand what his honor is doing. The child is actually already so big, my God. Why doesn't he look like his honor at all? Shouldn't he be a little skeleton? At this time, Yi Yan said, Daddy is not a skeleton. Daddy is a human, okay? Uncle Pig, you are out. His honor has turned into a human? The pig liver Dinglong asked Yi Zizi in a low voice. Yi Zizi said in a low voice, That's right. Back then, when his honor was a skeleton, you were already jealous of him. Now that his honor has become a human, you will be even more jealous of him. Oh my God. Right now, I have the strength to fight against his honor. The pig liver Leopardi actually had such a crazy thought. However, pig liver tongue wasn't bragging. In the entire team, everyone would be able to fight against Yi Hua, but the probability of them losing would be very high. Only the pig liver centipede, if it was envious enough, it would still be able to fight against Yi Hua. At the very least, it wouldn't lose so badly. With your current appearance, you still want to fight against his honor, TSK. Yi Zizi rolled her eyes and said. The pig liver Leopardi carried on to Yi Yan, causing the latter to be startled. What are you doing? Quickly let go of me. My God, this is so scary. I want Daddy. Little your honor, don't be afraid. Uncle Pig loves you. Yi Zizi said cautiously. Alright, stop joking around, we have to hurry back. The pig liver Leopardi placed Yi Yan down. Little your honor, in the future, Uncle Pig will play with you. Right now, I have to go and help his honor work. After resting for more than 10 years, I have to work day and night again. Kai Yun said towards Yi Yan and Yi Lu. The two of you hurry back. And we have to leave now. If his honor were to find out about this, he would definitely teach us a lesson. Yi Zizi warned. Yi Lu was still fine, it was just that Yi Yan was not obedient. Yi Yan nodded his head. Aunt Zizi, Aunt Kai Yun, Uncle Pig, you all can leave first, we will be returning to the academy in a while. All right. Yi Zizi nodded her head, and the three of them instantly disappeared from where they stood. Yi Yan let out a deep sigh. Little sister, well, Will Uncle Wei really betray us? Do you believe it? I don't believe it. Then isn't it settled? Let's go back. But before we go back, we have to go and have a good chat with that young Master Ding. Yi Yan said with an evil smile on his face, and the two little fellows disappeared from where they stood. Within Wushu Empire, Yi Hua was sitting on the throne, and Donghuang Baiji had also rarely appeared. The main reason was because she heard that Yi Hua's new subordinate had arrived. However, when she saw Yi Hua's subordinate, Donghuang Baiji was also extremely astonished. Why is it a pig? Furthermore, it is such a skinny pig. It is definitely not full yet. Subordinate. Pig Liver Leopardi pays his respect to his honor. His honor. Get up. Yi Hua said lightly. Even though it has been more than 10 years since he last saw Pig Liver Leopardi, Yi Hua's mood was still so horrifying. However, when he saw that Pig Liver Leopardi had returned, Yi Hua's mood became a bit better. Qing Su's escape and Wei Chang's betrayal had already caused Yi Hua to be deeply worried. Pig Liver Leopardi's return was finally normal, and the sadness in Yi Hua's heart had lessened. I am very happy that you are able to return, but I am also very curious. How did you become so skinny? Pig Liver Leopardi let out a light sigh. My worries are with the bright moon, following the wind till the west of the night. Yi Zizi and Kai Yin, who were at the side. The corner of Yi Hua's mouth twitched slightly. When did this fellow start reciting poems? Donghuang Baiji had a whole new level of respect for Pig Liver Leopardi. I didn't expect that under that appearance, he would have such literary talent. He should be the most knowledgeable man in the world. Good fellow. Pig Liver Leopardi also secretly sized up your wife. As expected of his honor's woman, this appearance is top-notch. Speak human words, Yi Hua said in a low voice. To actually dare to act coquettishly in front of me, this is enough. Your honor, you should know of my weakness as well. If I am too fat and can't even fit into my clothes, how would I be able to live in the human world and experience the feeling of a human? Yi Hua didn't expect that Pig Liver Leopardi would have such a realization. Curiously, he asked, what have you experienced? Other than love, I have experienced everything. Pig Liver Leopardi said with an incomparably regretful tone. What brotherly love, after seeing my face, all of them will fall out with me. Of course, before seeing my face, we were still addressing each other as brothers. Donghuang Baiji thought to herself, this Pig Liver Leopardi seems like he wants Yi Hua to be the matchmaker for him. However, this face of his is probably a bit scarier than Blue Sky Hong. Yi Hua laughed lightly, then said gravely, Wei Chang has already betrayed us. End of this chapter. Chapter 1188. The faces of the three subordinates darkened. Yi Zizi asked gravely, Your honor, did Wei Chang really betray us? That's right, I saw it with my own eyes, and I even injured Brett. Yi Hua said coldly, and his eyes were emitting out coldness. To be honest, the pig liver centipede had not seen Wei Chang for more than 10 years. Its memory of Wei Chang was still from a long time ago. That brainless but very loyal man. But Kai Yin understood Wei Chang a little, but now that Wei Chang had betrayed him, it was very hard for him to accept it. That man actually rebelled. I really don't understand. Why did you betray his honor? Did the other party offer a higher price? Anyway, he just couldn't figure it out. Yi Hua said gravely, I'm afraid that Wei Chang has already gone to another place. Therefore, the current strategic deployment is on Qing Su. This fellow kidnapped Wei Chang's underling, and I reckon that Wei Chang's life is not in danger for the time being. However, we can't just sit here and do nothing. Your honor, are we going to look for Qing Su first? Yi Zizi asked curiously. There's no need for that. White Bones is already looking for him. You all stand by and let me think about it. Oh right, let's get together tonight. Yi Hua said lightly. After all, the return of the pig liver centipede could still be celebrated. And it would also be good to sweep away the bad luck. Yes. Your subordinates will take their leave. Everyone respectfully shouted and left. After his subordinates left, Yi Hua pressed onto his forehead. He was still a bit gloomy, and no matter how hard he tried, he wasn't able to feel happy. Dong Huang Baiji arrived behind Yi Hua and said softly, "Do you feel uncomfortable anywhere?" "I'm a little tired," Yi Hua said lightly. "Right now, I am starting to miss my life at the bar. Opening a bar and whatnot, watching cartoons and chatting with the aunties at the entrance. Sigh. How about going out to relax? I'll accompany you." Dong Huang Baiji said lightly. "I'm not in the mood to relax." Yi Hua said faintly, "You can't continue on like this. I'm afraid that you might get depressed." Dong Huang Baiji teased. After hearing that, Yi Hua laughed. "It is fortunate that they left you behind. If not, there wouldn't be anyone who would dare to console me. Yet everyone else is scared to death of you. I treat you so well, but you still bully me. Baiji, help me relieve my boredom." "Go to hell, it's broad daylight," Dong Huang Baiji said petulantly. "It's not like I haven't tried it before in broad daylight. Let's go. If not, I'm going to get depressed." "I really admire you." Dong Huang Baiji was very helpless and could only accompany Yi Hua to relieve his boredom. In the bedroom, Dong Huang Baiji said coyly, "Yi Hua, we can't retreat." "Why can't I retreat? I want to retreat." "This won't do. We can only press forward." "Who said there's a rule? I can even do an S shape." "I'm not playing with you anymore." Okay. I'll hold on, okay?" "General, you lost." Dong Huang Baiji immediately clapped her hands happily. Looking at the chess set in front of him, Yi Hua's face sunk. "In the future, I will set the rules." All right, you are the boss. I will listen to everything you say," Dong Huang Baiji said with a light smile. Sometimes Yi Hua is just like a child. "It's getting late. Aren't you having a celebration party? It's about time for us to arrive. Don't put on a stern face tonight. Be a bit more cheerful, drink some wine and brag and whatnot," Dong Huang Baiji said tenderly. Dong Huang Baiji felt very sorry for Yi Hua. Yi Hua nodded his head, then brought Dong Huang Baiji to attend the banquet. Meanwhile, in the banquet hall, all of Yi Hua's subordinates were present. Of course, other than Wei Chang and Lai Gu, Do Fusher and White Bones were also present. Zhu Tian and Brett were also present. Zhu Tian was still in his cat form, while Brett only had external injuries, which healed in a short while. However, Zhu Tian still seemed a bit weak. The pig liver macaque was very curious. Why does his honor have so many subordinates? Furthermore, there are so many beauties. Did his honor arrange this gathering because he knew that I was coming back? His honor truly understands me too well. However, everyone was also looking at the pig liver macaque suspiciously. Who is this? It can't be that he is his honor's new underling, right? Why does he look like this? Looking at the pig liver macaque, Song Konghong felt a bit of relief in his heart. Finally, I am not the ugliest man. At the very least, I still have a human face. I am truly fortunate. The pig liver macaque was sizing up everyone, and suddenly, it saw a beautiful figure. This caused the pig liver macaque's heart to tremble. Wow, what a weak girl. Isn't this the girl that I, the pig liver macaque, am protecting? Look at that expression. She is simply like a fairy. Such a girl actually doesn't have a man by her side. My chance is here. Pig liver roast. Absolute Heaven cried out in surprise. Looking at Absolute Heaven and Brett, Pig liver mantis was stunned for a moment. Big tabby cat. How did you end up like this? Zhu Tian. Damn it, it's still the same as before. Why did you come back? Brett asked calmly. You cannon woman, it was naturally his honor who called me back. I heard that you were. Just as Pig liver mantis was about to speak, Absolute Heaven swung his tail, smacking Pig liver mantis's face. The pig liver macaque was shocked and almost spilled the beans. But this big tabby cat is really too much of a bully. I will not be jealous of you. Brett hugged Absolute Heaven, causing Pig liver centipede to be dumbfounded. What was going on? Had Brett embraced the heavens? Did the sun rise from the west? Just look at Absolute Heaven, rubbing against me with all his might. He's practically exactly the same as me. Their relationship wasn't very good in the past. How did it become like this today? What are you looking at? This is my husband. Brett snorted. Pig liver's jaw almost dropped to the ground. He couldn't help but moan. Absolute Heaven. Have you gone mad? You actually dare to go up to this kind of woman? Pig Liver Centipede said in a low voice. Brett's beautiful eyes turned cold. Scram. I like her. It's so comfortable, bite me. Absolute Heaven actually knows how to show off now, causing Pig Liver Centipede to be dumbfounded. This cat is fake, right? Hearing what Pig Liver Centipede said, Brett's face became slightly red. She pinched onto the cat's flesh, causing Absolute Heaven's fur to stand up from the pain. Hee acting cool. Pig Liver Centipede pouted his mouth. This is clearly going to be beaten to a pulp by Brett. This idiot. This kind of woman still dares to go up to me. Just wait to be destroyed. Look at that soft and weak girl. That is what a woman should be. Absolute Heaven, I have something to ask you. Pig Liver Centipede said sneakily. Absolute Heaven said snappily. What is it? Do you see that girl? Absolute Heaven looked over and discovered that what Pig Liver Centipede said was actually my ewer. Absolute Heaven was also startled. What do you want to do? Absolute Heaven had a bad premonition. Introduce me to her. Pig Liver Centipede's eyebrows twitched. Sorry, I don't have eyebrows. Brett immediately shouted out. Ewer, come over for a moment. Absolute Heaven and Dongfeng were quarreling, and that was why Dongfeng was so far away from them. However, hearing Brett calling out to her, Dongfeng still walked over. End of chapter. That you're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.